What is up, ladies and gentlemen? I am so excited you are here. We're gonna learn together. This is the Tarver Academy Summer Professional Development. We're gonna learn. Learning's happening. It's going down today. We're about to get started. My name is Tyler. I run Tarver Academy. It's an online resource for teachers and students and educators, and it's a great community where people just get involved and learn and get better. And I throw resources to you guys, throw ideas around. It's just a lot of fun. Just a whole lot of fun, Tarver Academy. So if you need anything, I'm here. TarverAcademy.com has a ton of resources and things that you can go to check out. A little bit about me, just so you know, you don't think I'm just like, hey, here's a random YouTuber talking about, videos or whatever. My name's Tyler. I started out teaching high school math, and then I moved into a tech director / facilitator role. Then I was a principal of a school 6th through 12th grade. 6th through 12th grade. Fun ages. That's good stuff, okay? Good stuff. Never any drama, 6th through 12th grade. No drama. And our school had waivers from the state, so we did a lot of online, we did a lot of blended, we did a lot of in-person learning, all the above. So we get to learn a lot, make some mistakes, do some stuff right, and try to learn from everything we did. Then after that, I went to central office, and I was director of curriculum instruction, and now I'm the dean of NLC College. And I'm so excited to be here, learning and growing with you guys. I'm also giving a little bit of time for people to jump in, get started, and we're about to go through some of the housekeeping stuff. We're gonna do a little check-in right now at the beginning, and then at the end of this video, at the end of this training, we're going to have a chance for you to get a certificate showing that you actually showed up and you did the learning, okay? I think that this training and the other trainings that you are gonna get the chance to be a part of this summer are gonna help you grow as an educator. And if you grow as an educator, all it does is help the students and the community that you live in. And so let's try our best to learn something, take something away from this that we can put in our repertoire and get better with. Okay, so the first thing I need you guys to do is I need us to check in, okay? And this check-in, what it does is it timestamps when you are here so that you might not need this later, but if your administrator or whoever comes back and they're like, how do I know you didn't just click to the end? This shows that you were here at the beginning. So you can scan the QR code that is on the screen if you have your cell phone. And on my phone with me, get your phone out. I'll use my wallet, Atlanta Braves wallet. Film that, you just hold your phone over that QR code that you see on the screen. You'll see something pop up at the top. Click that and it'll take you to where you can fill out that you were here. It's very short, very quick. I'm gonna give you a little bit of time to do that right now. Go ahead, scan the QR code, go to the website, check in, and when you do that, you will get an email. If you do not get an email immediately, this happened, I told you, I was a tech director for a long time, okay? I'd say a long time. I was a tech director long enough to know that if you don't get that email that you're filling out right now, it's because you typed your email address in wrong. That's exactly what happens. 19 times out of 19 and a half times, that's what happens. So go ahead and go to that. Remember, at the end of this session, there's gonna be another QR code that you're gonna scan that is going to give you the certification saying that you actually did the training. Both of these are time-stamped. So if your administrator or whoever's in charge of PD for your district wants to see that and be like, how do I know you did this? You've got your check-in email that is time-stamped by me, not by you. It's into a PDF or it's into that email. And then you will also have the timestamp on your certificate showing that you did this. Okay, so hopefully everybody is getting that done. Okay, giving you a little bit of time. If you have any trouble, just keep trying because I think it's pretty important to get that logged in. Now, while we're doing that, if you're finishing that up, or if you can hear me, what I would love for you to do is I would love for you to hit the red subscribe button. This is my YouTube channel, Tarver Academy. That's what I call it. It's kind of where I got this started. I had this before I had the website, and then I put up the website to put all the resources and all the stuff I was doing. But if you would hit the red subscribe button right now, that would be huge. That would be just super cool of you. And that way, you can hopefully see some of the other trainings that I'm doing, see some videos I do throughout the year to help teachers, to help students, to have fun and learn together. So hit that red subscribe button. Did you do it? Did you? You get the like too, the little thumbs up. That's just YouTube etiquette. You hit the thumbs up. It's just really nice to do. So you want to hit the thumbs up button, you can. And I would love to start this. How about this? in the chat, okay? Because if you're watching this on my website, which is where you can watch it, that's fine. You're not gonna see the chat, but if you click and watch this on YouTube, you're gonna see a chat rolling on the side of the screen. Start it off. I want you guys in the chat to say who you are, like give your name, tell us what you teach and where you teach, okay? If you're an administrator, you can say that I'm a principal, or you can say your central office, whatever you do. I've got some people that have signed up for this that are aspiring educators. So this is great to say, I wanna be an educator, I wanna be an English teacher for high school, throw that in there. If you wanna be a kindergarten teacher, toss that in there, say you're in school. It's a great way to network because I think there is an amazing community of educators here wanting to learn and grow together. And I think that it's great if we look out for each other. So throw in the chat, I want you to say your name, what you teach, and where you teach. Throw that in the chat. All right, man, we're doing good. We're doing good. It's our warm up. We're feeling good. We're stretching it out. It's always good to stretch before you stretch. I don't know, I heard some friends say that, so I say it from time to time. Okay, next thing. This is another little thing. I've got one right here. So I've written a couple books. I've done Superheroes Need Sleep Too. This is a children's book. It's like a nap time book, so you don't have to read that. But this one I think is super relevant for you. This is the Baller Teacher Playbook, and in it I have like practical advice. It's 18 chapters. So the idea is that you could do this like once a week with your team for a full semester or every other week for a year and try to improve your teaching every week. I'm not doing this to sell it to you. I'm doing this to say I'm giving some of these away all summer to people that are participating in this. So if you want a chance to win one of these, or I think I probably got some other educator books. If you're like, I don't really want your book, Tyler, I got a ton of educator books. I'll send them to you. All you got to do, follow me on Instagram at Tyler Tarver. Follow me at Tyler Tarver on Instagram, and I'm gonna be giving these out throughout the summer. You might be the person I give it to. So follow me on Instagram, and then throw something in your Instagram story if you want, just to increase your chances of me seeing it. So I'm just gonna be clicking through. I see people follow on Instagram. I'm gonna throw out stuff to them. So random people will get it. You might not, but you won't if you don't. So there we go. Y'all feeling good? Does everybody feel good? Everybody throw in the chat who they are, where they teach, what they teach. Okay, so to explain also what this is, you are watching, this is a live broadcast. So this is going as a YouTube premiere or a full-on live video. So one of the two. Either way, that chat is happening live. Everybody that jumps into this video at any point is gonna be watching it at the same time as you. So it's great to get in the chat and talk, discuss, ask questions, give input. If we ask a question in the video, you can type it in your notes, but you can also type it in the chat. You can copy paste from the chat. It's a great way for you to be a part of this live broadcast, okay? So if you have a Google Notes, if you have a notes document, if you wanna take notes by hand, I've got a template for notes if you want. It sent it to you whenever you filled out your email. It should have been on that page whenever you did your check-in at the beginning. If not, it's on like every PD page. I have my website, tarveracademy.com. Click on PD and you get a free notes template, or you can take notes in your own doc. However you want to do it, take notes, write down stuff that's relevant to you, and copy paste stuff that people put in the chat. There's gonna be people in the chat that are way smarter than me. And so I'd love for you to copy paste that into the notes, and you can take that and make your teaching game elevate. So next thing, while we're getting logged in, people are still jumping in here. They're still jumping in the video, giving you a few minutes to do that. We're also, if you want to watch these videos, because after this ends, it's going to be gone off of here. However, I'm going to be putting all of these trainings, all like 30 something trainings. I think it's over like 120 hours worth of trainings. I'm putting all of that for people that join what I call the Tarver Academy Honor Roll. It's a small group of educators who are trying to get better every week, and I send out weekly emails during the school year to where you're getting templates, you're getting resources, back to school starter kits, you're getting templates for Google Forms, trainings, PDs, tons of stuff every single week delivered to your inbox, and also you have access to all of these trainings. That is available if you go to tarveracademy.com/honor roll if you want to. I think it's a great decision. I think it's a great decision. Nobody's in here. Who am I talking to? I'm not talking to anybody. Okay, y'all feel good? Y'all ready to start? Y'all feel good? This is a little warm up. We'll explain what's going on. Everybody feel good? 1 to 10. Put in the chat how you feel today. Or give me this, how about this? Give me an emoji of how you're feeling today. That'd be better, 1 to 10, or give me an emoji. I'd love to see it. Or just give me a word. You're like, I don't want to do an emoji. Give me a word. How you feeling today? And let's get rolling. Remember, input in the chat, take notes, learn, grow. Welcome to the best professional development that you're gonna do. Not guaranteed, but it's an opinion, but it's also true, but it might be biased, but it's gonna be a great summer. It's gonna be a great training. Hope you guys learn something. Hope this adds you value that you can then bring to your students and make your school, your community, yourself better in some way. Guys, we're about to get started. Y'all excited? Y'all ready? We're about to do this. Let's get ready to learn and have fun. Tarver Academy. Let's go. Let's go. Hit it. Let's go. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We're so excited you're here. You're gonna learn with us Apple for Education. We are pumped to talk to you about some stuff that you can utilize in your classroom for yourself, for your students, talk about some experiences, some ideas, and actually get some full walkthroughs. And I am joined by the wonderfully talented Lindsay Fell. Lindsay, say hello. Tell everybody what you do and what you're passionate about. Tell us everything about you. Tell us your whole biography.
Okay, so my name is Lindsay, and I currently teach graphic design at Bryant High School. And prior to moving to the high school, I taught elementary art and spent a few years in the elementary classroom. So I have a few different experiences to build on and that I'm coming from. And I have used iPad in a first grade classroom and in the art room. And now in this graphic design position too, I use them. So yeah, I love the iPad so much. I love Apple altogether, but I especially love the iPad. There are just so many things about it that I think makes it a fantastic tool for the classroom. I believe in what these tools can do for our students. Absolutely, 100%.
That's awesome. And I completely agree. And that's why I want to do this training. And I'm so thankful to have you in here because you've used it. Like I've used it a little bit. You've used it a lot of it. And when you talk about it's powerful in the classroom and you've used it, you can talk about elementary level, you can talk about at the high school level. Are you saying you've used it? Or are you saying your students have used it? Like what was your setup as far as devices go in those environments?
Okay, so my device include, I have a MacBook, and then I also have an iPad Pro. And I found myself using the iPad Pro more while actively teaching. The MacBook kind of just stays on my desk, and it's what I go to whenever I need to enter grades or when there are certain things that are just easier on the MacBook. But when I'm presenting and teaching and actively walking around and working with my students, I've always got the iPad in my hand. My students also had iPads in the art room. I had a class set. I wrote a grant to our technology department, and they were so gracious to invest in that for my classroom. And I had 28, and so I used those. They stayed in my classroom though, and I used them with kindergarten through 5th grade. So about every hour, a new class would come in. So there was a little bit of a challenge there to get in how I managed them in my classroom, but we made it work and it was super fun. We had a lot of fun exploring what those can do in an art room. And then I started working with other teachers in my building. They saw what I was doing with iPads in my classroom. They started to get curious, like, well, what would this look like in a kindergarten classroom? What would this look like in 1st grade? So I started sharing my cart out with other teachers, and they would tell me about things that they were struggling with or things that their concept that their kids weren't grasping. And I would see if I could come up with a solution for how to get the kids there with this tool and what it offered. So in the videos that we're going to watch here in a little bit, I talk about some of those things that we created together in those years at Parkway. But yeah, I think the tools are really fantastic. Now that I'm at the high school, we are going 1-to-1 in the fall. So we'll get all of my students will have their own iPad that they take with them from class to class beginning in August. And that'll be their first year. So I'm sure our first year will be a learning year in a lot of ways. But I also I've written grants for iPad Pros in my classroom that are the 12.9-inch screens, and they have Apple Pencils, and we work in Procreate. And then we also have Photoshop and Illustrator on those iPad Pros as well. So Yeah. So they can design on the go. They go and work with community members who need some design rescue type service work. But yeah, it's been really cool to give them that mobility with Photoshop and Illustrator and Procreate and let them go. And I mean, it allows us to have class outside. It just opens up so many opportunities for us. We're not stuck in our lab all the time.
Yep. That's awesome. I love it. And I agree. I haven't worked in it. So let me kind of tell you my experience with it. Is that cool? Is that cool with you, Lindsay?
Yes. Yes.
In the chat, while I'm doing this, I would love for you to tell us your experience with Apple products. Is it, I've just used my phone and or I let students use their phones, or do you have an iPad? Do you have a classroom set of iPads, MacBooks? Tell us what you use in the classroom to get started while I'm talking. So my experience, let me tell you. Okay, so I do a lot of technology stuff now, but back whenever I was teaching high school math, like I honestly, like I stiff armed it. I was like, oh no, I'm good. Like my principal was real big on incorporating technology, and he's like, everybody's getting Promethean boards and smart boards and all these different things. And he asked me for like a couple of years. He was like, all right, we're ready to order. Do you want a Promethean board? I'm like, I don't need your stinking Promethean board. Like, give me a marker, not a Sharpie, but give me a dry erase marker and a dry erase board. And these students are going to learn some math. And that's all I've ever needed. And then my last year at the school, I actually got an iPad that I was able to use. This was back in like 2011. He ordered me one iPad. I got like the little dongle, and I got an HDMI cable, and I rolled a projector in. I was like, I'm so dumb. Like just having one iPad that was like tethered in the classroom added so many elements of me being able to like, I'm sitting there and I'm teaching and I'm writing on here, and I'm able to like look around. I'm sitting with the students and talking to them, like, because I had tables and I'm like sitting in the middle of them. I'm writing. I can walk around because it was a long HDMI cable. They're able to write on it. We're able to like, I'm screenshotting and exporting out pictures onto, remember when Tumblr was a thing? Do you remember Tumblr? Yeah. So I'm like exporting out the lessons on Tumblr for them to go get them when they want to, and Twitter and all this random stuff that, that's the way it used to be. Now it'd be on the gram, put it on the Snapchat. But I would toss out all of those for the students to use if they missed class, if they needed the resources. So that was how I used one iPad in my classroom. Then after I got into administration and became a principal, we got a grant from the department. Oh, I will say this. Before that, at our ALE, we had the scrolly wheel iPods. Do you remember those? Like the scrolly, like, remember those? Those little chicken nuggets? So we had those, and I would have students, I'd be teaching one group, and the other group would be watching my math videos on these like little iPods with headphones in. And then I would like facilitate for them. So that's a basic way to use it, is like a video player. It's like a glorified DVD player, but we used them there. Then when I became principal, we got a grant. So we ordered MacBooks and iPod minis for all the students. So every student had a MacBook and an iPod mini. That'd be a really small device. iPad mini, not iPod mini, an iPad mini. And the idea was they would use that as like their textbook. So we'd send them everything on PDFs. They would use iTunes U back when that was there. Rest in peace. And then we'd use that as like their miniature book. And then they would also get their MacBook to like type and write on, because it's harder to type on the little, iPad mini. So that was what we used. And, we made a lot of mistakes, but we did some stuff right, I feel like. And the students, at first it's exciting just because it's like, oh, cool, an iPod. Like they just think or an iPad. We got an iPad. How cool. And they're like putting it in their little cargo shorts and walking around feeling like they have a big cell phone. And then like once we got used to it, we're able to leverage both of those devices to where they're able to do one and then use the other. So it's like, I don't have internet at home. Okay, great. Let's screenshot or download PDFs onto your iPad that you can use when you get home, and then you can type it into something on your MacBook and you can use it without. It's like you got to flip the research. So, having these devices is only as good as how you train and teach the students to use them. And I think you said that, and I've seen examples, and you've told me a ton of stories about how you've been able to leverage these tools to create in the classroom. I'd love to hear a specific story from you, if you don't mind, on when you were able to use the creativity aspects of an Apple device for a lesson. Like, do you have any examples that come to mind?
Yeah. So I'll tell you, I was working with the green team, And the kids were they were preparing for the Fashion Bash, the Saline County Fashion Bash. I don't know if you're
Of
familiar with
course.
that.
Oh yeah, everybody knows. It's big on the internet.
They what they were doing, I think it was 2019, probably. It's in the spring of 2019, maybe 2020. I can't remember. 2020 is a blur. I don't even know what happened in 2020, but I think it was 2019. I can't remember. But the green team, they were preparing for the Fashion Bash, and it was they create a whole dress or suit or I don't know, outfit ensemble out of recycled materials. That's the challenge. And the theme that year was around the world. So they were supposed to draw from some cultural clothing from around the world for inspiration for their design, and then create it out of totally recycled materials. And the green team teacher, she came to me. She had introduced the project to them, and it wasn't working. They were wanting to just jump into like cutting up cardboard and trying to put something together. And she was wanting them to plan and kind of sketch and design and gather inspirational images. So what we did was we put together a Pages Learning Journal with an interactive map that took them to different countries that they could explore that clothing in that country and in that culture. And I talk about this in my Pages video that's going to be coming up. And then it also took them through a whole creative process where they gathered inspirational images and put it in an image gallery. And then they created a color palette for their design, and then they sketched it out, and then they actually constructed it out of the recycled materials that they had gathered, and then took a video of themselves walking on the runway. So that was the whole project, and then that's how they got their score. So it was just really powerful for them to be able to insert that media, insert a drawing, insert a photo, insert a video. I think it just totally changes the game and makes it really interactive and exciting for them and engaging.
I absolutely agree. And I think the fact that they can walk around with their device and create it and build it from there, I think that's incredible. One of the first assignments I gave the students whenever we had the iPads was I wanted them to create a book. Again, iTunes U, can't use it now, but iTunes U, they created an About Me book and had a list of things they had to do. And so what they're doing is they're taking their iPad home, they're making videos, they're doing pictures, they're typing in bios. Like they essentially wrote an autobiography about themselves, but with other digital assets in there. And so that was really cool. And then for the second assignment to get them, I always recommend anytime students are introduced to a new piece of technology or a new program, if you can adapt it around something they already know to where they can not have to learn two things at once. So it's like, if I told all those students, hey, we're going to do Pythagorean theorem and you're going to make it a book, like they're having to learn the technology and the curriculum. By saying, hey, make it about you, they know about themselves. They've been with themselves most of their life. And so ideally they know a little bit about themselves to where they can just kind of learn the technology on the go. And so we did that first. And then for the second one, they have like this museum of like stuff from the town. And we all walk down there with our iPads and they're walking around filming and taking pictures and essentially doing a history of the town based on like what they're seeing in this museum. So that was a really cool activity we got the chance to do as well. So I love that both of us have had the chance to do some stuff. Do you see like a higher engagement when students have that ownership and they're able to create with these things?
Oh yeah, for sure. They get excited and it's a lot of fun for them. But I think it's just the format that they're so used to. It's what they carry around in their pocket all the time, you know?
Yep.
And another benefit to teaching them how to create on iPad, I think, is showing them that even the cell phones that they carry around in their pocket can be so much more for them than just, you know, access to TikTok and Snapchat. You know, if we could just get them to create on their own and show them that their iPhone can take some really cool pictures and they can edit video and they can compose music in GarageBand right there on their phone that they carry around in their pocket. I don't think that they realize that they have that ability on their device. Yep.
I agree. I completely agree. So I want to throw this at you. Okay. So, you know me, still same old G. I just been low key. Sorry, that's part of a rap song. So, so, I'm a big fan of Google and I'm a big fan of all that. And in my mind, like I use a MacBook, I use an iPad, I use an iPhone, like all my hardware is Apple. And a lot of the software I use, like a majority of the time, is Google. It's like doc sheets, slides, all that stuff. We're going to go through today and you're going to show us a ton of ways that you've utilized. We're going to talk through them. and then you're going to show them. We're going to talk through the next program, and then we're going to show them. I wanted to kind of hear your pitch on what sets Apple, like when you use this. So do you use, like, if you're going to write something, are you going into Pages? Are you going into Numbers? Are you going into Keynote? Is that what you're using as your default on everything?
Absolutely. Yes. And it's just because I like it better. And now if it's something that I have to collaborate with someone on who isn't as savvy of a Mac user just yet, or maybe they don't have,
I like how you said just yet, like they're going to surpass you. Lindsay, no, they won't.
Maybe. I hope.
You're
I want
the
them.
GOAT of Apple. You will win. I'm just kidding.
No, this is not about winning, Tyler.
Oh, it always is. I'm just kidding. I'm joking.
Or they might not have, you can collaborate on Pages documents with iCloud, but it's only available. The only downfall is that you can only access that through Apple devices, so through MacBook or through iPad. So if it's going to be someone who I'm going to be collaborating on a document with someone who's strictly a Windows user or doesn't have access to iPad or MacBook, then I will use Google Docs, just because that's the one benefit that you can access it from any device, and the formatting pretty much stays the same. But if it's something for me, yes, absolutely, Pages all the way, just because I feel like it has a lot more flexibility with the Shapes library and the ability to insert media. Super easy. I can draw inside of it. I can just sketch things very quickly and easily. And the opportunities to export it as an iBook if I want to and publish to the iBook store. Yeah. That's awesome. Pages all the way for sure.
Pages for sure. Okay. So we're about to jump in and start with Pages. Before we do, is there anything else you'd like to throw in there about what you love with utilizing this, or how, like, say I'm a new teacher and they just handed me this device. What is a mindset I should have when pursuing, using it either as myself as the teacher or the students in the class? What's a mindset I should have, or a thought process?
So especially with iPad, I think sometimes I know that there are millions of apps out there, and there are a lot of really good ones for education, and you can just drown in apps almost sometimes. And I think if you're brand new to iPad, there's a whole world to explore in just Pages, Keynote, Numbers. And if you just start small, just start with those three, because they're so similar in their formatting and their media that you can insert. You'll see when we watch the videos that the formatting is so similar, especially in iPad, that if you learn one of them, it's going to be very easy to learn the other two. So I would say just start with those three. It's not necessarily about how many apps you can use or how many apps you know about, but more about doing the most with less apps, so you don't become so overwhelmed and inundated with apps. So it doesn't, I don't know, I'm a simplicity type person. I just like to really maximize on a really great app, and Pages, Keynote, Numbers definitely do that.
Yeah, I would agree. That's what I always recommend people. You don't have to know how to do everything, but if you know how to do what you need to know how to do, you're going to be good to go. So I love that. So let's get going. Let's start with Pages. Pages. Okay. So Pages it's similar to like the Microsoft Word, the Google Docs. This is where you're writing. So Lindsay, kick us off. What are your thoughts about Pages?
So yes, Pages is a word processing application. You can use it, of course, on iPad and MacBook. A lot of times I'll put my document in my iCloud account and actually have it open on both devices, because sometimes there are things that are easier to do on iPad and some things are easier to do on the MacBook. So a lot of times I'll just have it open on two screens. And
so wait, people are gonna ask, they're gonna say, wait, what do you mean? Don't just jump over the cloud. What's the cloud? So you're saying whenever you save it to iCloud. So instead of saving to your desktop, you're saving to iCloud, and that way you can access it on your phone, on your iPad, on your MacBook. You can have it open in multiple places, correct?
Yes, as long as you're logged into your iCloud account on that device. Okay. Yes.
And that iCloud is like your Apple ID, correct?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes. You have so much iCloud storage that they give you for free, and then you can purchase extra.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not going to fill up unless you start tossing like photos, videos, and audio. Like if you're using Pages, Numbers, and probably Keynote, you'll probably be safe. I don't think you're going to fill it up with those three.
Unless your Pages, Keynote, and Numbers documents include a lot of videos embedded in them.
Bingo. Yes. If you toss those in there, then yeah, that sucker's going to fill up for
Yes.
show. For show. That's
okay.
awesome.
So what makes Pages a game changer? We talked about this just a little bit. The ability to easily insert audio clips and video and image galleries. I love image galleries. I love inserting image galleries for my students to scroll through. And I also love giving them an empty image gallery for them to fill. With multiple purposes, like go gather inspiration for this project and load your photos of inspiration into this image gallery. Or I want you to build out this project, fill your image gallery with steps of this process that I've laid out for you and put them in here so I can check your understanding. There's just a million and one ways to use those image galleries. Either you giving them the images that are in the image gallery or leaving it open for them to fill in. So I love an image gallery all day. Okay, I love that I can draw in Pages. And there's a new feature, I think it's called, where you can like write out the word in your handwriting and it'll turn it into typed text.
Yep, it'll convert it over. I've seen that. They do that in Notability, which is the app I use a lot for that. They'll do that as well, but I've heard that Apple's putting it in there directly.
Yeah, that's now in Pages, Keynote, and Numbers, and all three of those should do that. So all of the iWork apps.
And you're talking about with like an Apple Pencil.
Yes, absolutely.
By the way, my dog got on my desk and took my Apple Pencil and chewed it.
No, how do you charge it? Is it which generation app?
It's the new one.
So will it still charge?
I haven't tried. I had a backup pencil because I lost it and then found it. So I was like, oh, well, of all the things to chew, this is convenient. So
I have an older version where you have
plug it in.
Yes.
See, I mean.
Nice.
Yeah, I guess it still works. That's great. Okay, sorry, keep going. I just tried that for the first time. This is now revolutionary for me.
And it's still okay. And it works. That's awesome. Okay, so I love the Shapes library in all three of those applications, Pages, Keynote, and Numbers. Have you ever dove into the Pages library and used those for
the templates?
No, Shapes library.
Oh, gotcha. I haven't.
Yeah, so a lot of the shapes, they'll have like 3D model shapes and things like that, and you can break them apart. Which is kind of neat because you can build animations with, the faces of a three-dimensional shape, or you can combine shapes together to create your own shape. So Shapes library is fantastic. I think that sets it apart. And of course, the templates that are already included for Pages. You mentioned that just a moment ago.
Yeah.
And the ability to export your project as an EPUB file.
Yep, which means that they can do what with it?
They can publish it as an iBook if they so choose to.
That's right. That's a ton of things. I've been to a bunch of conferences where there are students who have created like history books. So it's like we talked about collaboration with Google. Apple does collaboration as well. It just might look a little different. So they've got the cloud stuff where you can do that. But I've seen a ton of classes collaborate where students break up into groups and they build chapters of a textbook, and then they're essentially creating a textbook through this, and they publish it in iTunes. And so I think it's super simple. They're taking the hard part out of the process, which is taking it from like I've put it into my document and then to putting it on the internet. Like they've taken that part and made it super simple from what I've seen.
Yeah, it's so nice. I used to publish books in iBooks Author. Did you ever use iBooks Author?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so the only thing that I'm so sad about is that the widgets didn't transfer to Pages. Do you remember the interactive widgets? You could bring in a keynote and have it embedded into your book. And that was incredible. I miss that about iBooks Author. But Pages does offer a lot, and it's simplified, it's easy to use, and you can publish a really nice looking book in Pages. They've changed a few things recently. When you go to your view options, You can now view two pages side by side, so it looks kind of like publishing software, like InDesign almost, which
Oh,
is nice.
cool.
Yeah, and when did iCloud and the ability to collaborate on documents, when did that come about? Because that has just been in the last like 5 years or so, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think it was like 3 or 4 years ago. It's like Google started doing it, and then Apple jumped out. And then after that, they jumped in and like, I think Microsoft finally started like 20 minutes ago or something. I don't know. They're probably just now starting it, but yeah, they started doing collaboration stuff. So yeah, that's recent.
Yeah. So yeah, the only thing that I wish Pages has had that it doesn't have is the ability to use those widgets like we used to have in iBooks Author. That's the only thing that I miss. But yeah, it's fantastic. So
how would you see like teachers would use Pages?
So for teachers, you can create, we talked a little bit about interactive learning journals for students. We talked about that. You could create those to guide them or to scaffold them through a process that you're wanting them to go through or a learning experience. And then you can also create your own templates. Have you played around with editing master pages? Like, so Pages will have some templates built in. And you can take one of those templates and edit the template itself so that when students go to add a page, it's the pages that you have created for them to choose from.
Yep,
Which
I have done that.
Yeah.
So it's super convenient for rubrics. Like if you have rubrics, or if you have like, I know especially with science, they want you to follow these certain like procedures on stuff. And that way everybody's on the same page and you can actually control it. And I think that's one of the good things is that you can customize the stuff that's built into it. So I think that's great.
Well, and you're still giving your kids some freedom. Like you've kind of given them what you want them to choose from. You've narrowed it down. These are the 8 different page layouts that you can choose from for, your upcoming page. You choose it and choose the one that you see that will fit best for the content that you're trying to communicate on your next page of this document. So they feel like they get some creative freedom and you're still guiding them through this process that you're trying to teach. So I think it's nice.
I think so too. How about students? How would you see students could utilize Pages?
So we just talked about students publishing books and working collaboratively in Pages, which I think is so cool. And then another way that we have used it, my news team kids, they would write their scripts for videos in Pages. And there's actually a way to use that in teleprompter mode. And your iPad becomes a teleprompter for you while you film, which is super nice. Cool. You can adjust the speed of the text going down or up the screen and everything. It's really nice. I showed that in the video. And then we talked about the multimedia journals and the collection of content, being able to capture video, images, and audio. And you and I talked a little bit about collaboratively writing a story. So yeah, the ability to collaborate in Pages is awesome for sure.
I love it. Okay. Well, that's an overview of Pages. Now Lindsay's going to show you how to actually, we're going to get in there. We're going to look at it. Okay. So if you have your iPad, are you doing it on iPad or MacBook? I forgot.
It's on, everything's in iPad.
Okay.
Today.
So get the iPad out. And if you want to play around in Pages as Lindsay's walking through it, that would be a really good idea. She's going to show you some features on there. So let's kick to that.
Let's take a look at the app Pages. Now, when I open up my iPad, I can see that the Pages app is right here. It's yellow and it's got an Apple Pencil on it. So when I open that up, it's going to take me to the library of all of my documents. And I want you to know that you can have documents on your iPad or you can have them saved in your iCloud Drive. Okay. If you're not familiar with Pages, Pages is a word processing application for Mac and iPad. So there's lots of advantages for using Pages, and we are going to talk about those things. And there's just a few disadvantages. One thing to keep in mind, that while you can collaborate, and we're going to talk about collaboration in Pages, just know that if you try to send a Pages document to someone who is not using an iPad or a Mac, the formatting, it doesn't transfer nicely. You're going to lose your fonts. You're probably going to lose your formatting. So like if you were sending a Pages document to someone who's going to open it in Microsoft Word, it would not transfer and open correctly. You would want to convert that to a PDF before sending that to them. But that's the only downfall of Pages I can think of. But if you are in a community or a school that is full-blown Apple, Pages is the way to go, and we're going to talk about why. Okay, so let's create a new document right here. And you'll notice, first of all, when you scroll through here that you have lots of templates to choose from, which is nice, especially if you're new to Pages. It might be kind of daunting to start with a blank document. And these pages are really nice. They look nice. So you'll notice in Pages that you have reports and documents, and then you'll go down and you'll see that you have book templates, and those are set up a little bit differently. Okay, so let's just start with a document, a blank document. Let's go like this. So here's my blank document, and I am going to show you how to insert media. This is what I think makes Pages a game changer. So up here in this corner, you will see lots of options. And if you're not familiar with them, we'll just go through and talk about them. So with this plus sign right here, this is where you would insert media. So if you just tap on the screen like that, it puts up your text cursor and your keyboard. But let's say that you want to put your text inside of a text box instead, so that you have the freedom to move it around. You would go here to your shapes library, and text is the first thing that you see there. So when you hit this plus sign, you'll notice that you have a menu of options up here at the top. Let's just go through those really quick. The first one is a table. So you can insert a table. You can insert some graphs. You can insert shapes. And this is also where the text box is. And the shapes library is probably my absolute favorite thing about Pages Keynote and Numbers, just because it's so versatile. And some of these shapes you can break apart, and also you have the ability to combine shapes and create your own shape and add it to your shapes library on your iPad. So like when you get over here to My Shapes, you can add your own shapes, which I think just makes it so versatile and really useful and really handy. So tables, graphs, shapes library, and then over here we have various media types that you can insert. So you can easily insert a photo or video into Pages, and we'll just do that real quick. Let's see. This is a neat video. I'll just insert it. And then you'll notice I can resize it. I can move it around. Let's see, what else can we do? We can insert a photo from the camera directly if we wanted to. We could record an audio. Let's do that really quick and just test it. So when I hit record audio, you'll see a microphone pop up here. And I can say, testing, testing 1, 2. And then hit stop. And I can listen to it back here. Testing, testing 1, 2. Okay, so let's say I like that and I want to insert it. I'll just hit insert here, and it'll give me a little audio box. So if you had instructions for something for your students, and maybe you needed to make those instructions accessible for maybe your readers that aren't as proficient, you could put a little audio box there for them to listen to that. Okay. You can also insert a video from the web. You can insert an image gallery. I really like this feature. So you can put an image gallery right here, and this works both ways. You could insert an image gallery for your students, for them to flip through, like this is my Memoji I was just playing around with. And when you add those, it makes it like a flip through gallery type situation. But what you could also do is, if you were creating a workbook for your students and you wanted them to fill up an image gallery with evidence of their learning, you could just use that image gallery as a placeholder, and when they come through, then they would insert their images into that image gallery. Okay, something else that you can do in Pages is add a drawing, and you can do that here. You can just hit add a drawing, or you can just take your Apple Pencil and click on the Pages window, and you will see these tools pop up. So we have a pen, and let's just try drawing with a pen here. And let's say that you want your line to be a little thicker or thinner. I can click on my pen, and it brings up the option to change the thickness or thinness of my line. I can also drop down the opacity of my line, which I think is kind of neat because you can start to layer your strokes. I think that's neat. Okay, so we've got the pen. This is a pencil. The crayon is kind of fun. It makes a neat crayon-like stroke. And then this is the fill shape tool. So for this one, you would just draw a shape and it's going to fill it in with color. Let's undo that. And then we also have an eraser tool. And remember, your eraser, you can change the thickness, and you can take it from a pixel eraser to an object eraser. And it'll just erase much faster. Let's take it back down to that. Okay, this is your selection tool where you can, well, let's put a drawing down first and then I'll show you how to do this. So let's say I had this drawing, right? And then let's say I want to move that drawing or resize it without having to redraw it. I can just select it and then I can hit resize and I can resize my drawing. I can also, let's see, let's select it again. I can duplicate it, which is kind of fun. Super fun like that. So that selection tool definitely comes in handy. And then we also have a highlighter tool that you can use. Okay, so let's talk about all of these options over here. So here are, you know, the most used colors, but then you've also got this rainbow box here. And when you click on that, this is going to give you the option to choose your colors on a grid, on a spectrum, or with the sliders, okay? And if you have a specific hex color code that you're using for a specific project, this comes in really handy here. So let's talk about the grid, like for example here, we could use that. And then let's say I want to pull in a color from my project. I can use that eyedropper tool and pull in that color. So that's pretty nice, I think. Okay, so let's talk about this guy over here. We haven't used him today. This is the scribble text tool. So what I can do is I can just write something in my handwriting, and it's going to take my handwriting and turn it into typed text. Okay, which could come in handy for your students for sure. Okay, so there's pretty much all of the features. Let's talk about this over here. If I wanted to see thumbnails, the page thumbnails lined up over here, I could turn on thumbnails like that. If I wanted to view, these are basically all your view options. If I wanted to view my document where I have two pages side by side, I could do that. And then like, let's say, if I wanted to view a word count or rulers, I could turn all of this on. I don't necessarily want to read that or see the word count. Okay, and I'm going to go back to one page. So that's where those options are. Of course, this is undo. And this is if you want to see a table of contents. Okay. All right, so let's talk about some ways that you could use this in your classroom or with colleagues. So the one way that I really like to use this is for interactive workbooks with students. And I have an example here that I used with some students that were in kindergarten. And this is, it was a book written to teach kids or to help guide kids through learning how to write their numbers to 10. It's an activity workbook, and it does include some interactive media. So our students had, at the time that I made this book, our students had these Logitech crayons, which are a little bit of a cheaper option if your district doesn't want to go with the expensive Apple Pencil option. And I have paint on mine. Sorry, I'm an art teacher. It happens. But you might look into the Logitech crayon, especially if you teach younger students. These are just really durable and they hold up really well, and they're about half the price. So here is how I told the students to use the book. And let's just take a look at one of the pages. So you'll see that there is a video embedded, and I just created the videos with the kindergarten teacher I was working with in clips. So we'll just watch this, and it shows them the path of movement, and it includes a poem that this teacher created to remind them of how to write each number. Okay, put your pencil at the red dot, and around and around and around we go. When we get home, we have a 0. Now you try. Okay, so they would watch that video and then tap the iPad with their Apple Pencil. I'm not sure why it's not letting me. Let's insert a drawing. There we go. Okay. And I can make this a little bit bigger, and I can practice writing my 0. Now, let's say that I get over here and I'm like, oh man, I can't remember the path of movement. I also included that poem here as an audio. No, let's not. Let's view it in, here we go. Around and around and around we go. When we get home, we have a 0. So now we could go back over here and practice writing our 0s. And so what we did was we pushed this out through schoolwork or airdrop it through Classroom app. Either way, however you want to share this out. And then the kids turned it in after they completed it. And it was something that they could do totally independent while she pulled small groups, or even if she had a sub for that day, they could do this because they still had access to their teacher just in a video and audio clip format. And then if you had students who were struggling with this, you could just go through and erase their progress and have them practice again. No big deal. And they love this. They love the interactivity. They love getting to watch the video and then do it themselves and then turn it in. And these kids, I want to say that when we created this book, she had maybe 3 kids out of 20 that could write their numbers, and within a week they were all doing it because this was so engaging and they really loved the format. Okay, so let's go over and look at another way that you could use this. So another thing that we've done is an interactive learning journal where it's a little more open-ended. So this book I created when I was working with some English language learner students who were new to the United States. And every time that I would meet with them, this one little girl, she would ask me, what do you call this? And she would point to like a door or a window. And she was always wanting to know the names of things because she was just learning English. So I ended up making her this word collector journal. And when I gave her hers, she put her photo here and her name, grade, and teacher. And I used this with several students since. But what she would do is insert, I gave her a placeholder. This is just that image gallery that we talked about. So she could hit this and take a picture of the object that we discussed that day. And then I could write the word for her here, but then she could also go and record audio and say chair and insert that. And she could move it here. And like, let's say that this was a picture of a chair. We would just put the word chair. So now she's got the word in text, she can hear it, and she took a picture of it and added it in. And she just kept collecting words, and we just added to this all year long to where she had this whole vocabulary journal that was authentic and personal for her as she was learning the English language. This is super easy to make. It's not complicated. It's an easy concept, and it worked great for that particular kid. And I love the ability to put an image placeholder and to record audio so they can easily hear themselves back and remember what those words were. Okay. Another thing that we did, let me see if it's in my iCloud drive. It's what I'm looking for. There we go. There it is. It should be on my iPad too. we did a journal for the Fashion Bash, but I'm not seeing it on here. And it is this one right here. So for this project, we had some students who were creating some fashion designs, like dresses for a fashion show out of recycled materials. And the green team teacher was actually in charge of this. I'm not part of the green team, but she came to me and she said that her students were struggling with finding a creative direction. They were wanting to jump right into designing or building their dress or constructing their dress and not really taking time to plan out their design. And she asked if I could help get them started down that creative process. So I came up with this idea because, and I wanted it to be something that they could look back on, because a lot of times we just met 30 minutes at a time. So they would just get into that creative process and then they would have to go back to class. So that was one of the challenges. And this way they could look back on their thinking. So the first thing we did, the theme was around the world. So the first thing we did was I gave them an interactive map for them to look at clothing from all over the world. So like, let's say they want to explore the Chinese kimono. They've got a picture of it here, so they kind of get an idea, and they click on this link and it takes them to an instructional or an informational YouTube video, and they can explore all these different cultures and all these different clothing types independently and gather inspiration that way. And then they can go through here, and I just had things for them to respond to about which clothing inspired them. And then I had them go and collect inspirational photos. And the way we did that, this is really neat, we haven't talked about this yet, is if you swipe up from the bottom of your screen right here, you can pull Safari up and create a split screen situation. You can put it here on top of your other page, but you can also take it and push it over to make it fill up half the page. And then I just had them search for, if they wanted to look at Middle Eastern clothing, then they could search for Middle Eastern clothing, find images, and just drag and drop it into their image gallery straight from Safari and split screen. And then when they're done with split screen, they just push it off and you're back to having pages full screen. And then of course they could sketch and draw in here. They created a color palette for their design. And we just kind of went through a whole guided creative process. And then they uploaded photos of their completed project here and went off to their fashion show and totally killed it. It was amazing. Okay, so there's a couple of ideas for implementation or integration in your classroom. Let's see. There was one more thing I wanted to show you. Let's say, for example, you wanted to either record a speech or create a video with a script. This is just the Gettysburg Address. One really fun feature that's built into iPad is that you can use it as a teleprompter. So to do that, I just copy and pasted my text in here. And what I'm gonna do is hit these three buttons and go to presenter mode. And when I do this, it puts it in presenter mode like that. And I can choose to scroll it scroll on my own as I record, or I can hit this menu here and I can turn it to auto scroll. So this is auto scrolls off, auto scroll is on. You can adjust the speed and it'll let you preview how fast it's gonna go. And then when you're ready, you just tap the screen and it rolls your script for you. So you can set this up and have the camera on and read your script and record a video. So pretty cool. Pages has a teleprompter built in. Okay, so there is a little bit about Pages and some fun ideas for you to try out in your classroom this year.
All right, welcome back. Okay, so now we are going to look at Keynote. Keynote is the Apple version of PowerPoint, slides, Prezi. I think of that every time I think of a Prezi. I think of it like zooming in, zooming out, zooming in, zooming out. So this is Apple's version of those. I will say this, Tyler's opinion. I think out of all the ones I just named, Keynote looks the best. I think it is the cleanest. It is easiest to use, like copying, dragging. It's like it's almost like the closest you can feel to like Iron Man in his workshop when he's like grabbing stuff and throwing it around. That's how I picture Keynote. And it is the best looking out of all of them. And I just think it just looks super professional. Lindsay, give us an overview, a little bit, a basic overview of Keynote and your thoughts on it.
Okay, so yes, Keynote is technically Apple's presentation tool, but it is so much more. And I dive into a lot of that and what a lot of ways for you to use it in the video that you're going to watch coming up next. So what makes Keynote a game changer and why do I think it's so fantastic? You have the ability in Keynote to export your projects as a video or a movie. You have the ability to export it as an image, or you have the option to export it as an animated GIF or GIF.
I say GIF, but that's only because I say it correctly.
Right. So we have had a lot of fun with Keynote. Keynote is probably what we use the most in the art room. We created an app of Buzzmojis, kind of like Bitmoji, but Buzzmojis, and they were all animated hornet GIFs that communicated a positive message for Kindness Week. And we pushed it out through an iMessage app so that everyone in the Bryant community can use our GIFs that we created. So it gives my students' artwork, a very broad audience and a really nice purpose, I feel like. So yeah, we built the app in Xcode. And I don't know how to code. I want to know how to code so bad. Like I have tried to code forever, but listen, we made this app. It's a code-free app. It's just called a sticker app in Xcode. So if I can do it, I feel like anybody can do it.
Well, you're pretty smart. You're an Apple's distinguished educator, which I'm so impressed with myself that I haven't told them yet. Like we got this far into the video before I dropped that we actually met because we were both Apple distinguished educators, which I don't want to brag about, but I'm going to because I want to. And so that's pretty impressive. So you are super skilled, but I feel the same way. I'm like, I think through the process of using some of this stuff and I'm like, really, it's just kind of just not quitting. It's like trying it and not quitting. Whether it's Googling how to do it or watching tutorials like you're watching now, it's just keep trying and keep doing the things that you want to do until you get the habit and get the hang of it. So I love that. So what are your other thoughts on Keynote?
So just like we saw in Pages where you can insert image galleries, images, photos, videos, images, and then photos. Videos and audio clips. It looks the exact same in Keynote. You can insert all that formatting is exactly the same. It's seamless across Pages, Keynote, and Numbers, which makes it so nice because, like I said, once you learn one of those programs, all of that interface is the same across all of them. And we draw a lot in Keynote, and then we use the slides. Like, have you ever seen? I'm sure you remember those flip books for animation that like you could buy a little book and it had a cartoon inside it. You flip through it and you watch the cartoon and on every page there was a different drawing and it kind of changed and you flipped through it and watched the cartoon unfold. So we use the slides in Keynote as like pages in one of those books to build out our animation. And then we export it as a GIF or a movie. So it's like stop motion animation, but in Keynote. It's fun. It's super fun.
That's awesome. Would you recommend, question, if I was wanting to get more comfortable with Apple, because you said all these programs, they're similar. Okay. So once you get used to one, a lot of the features overlap. Would you recommend someone starts in, like, if I'm like, okay, I want to try something, do you recommend they start in Keynote or would you recommend they start in like Pages or something else?
So Keynote would be for me, but I taught art, and so Keynote just lends itself to a lot of artistic things. If you are needing to create like interactive journals and workbooks and things that you're wanting to guide your students through, you might start with Pages or Numbers. And I know that you might think Numbers is a spreadsheet application, but it's a lot more than just a spreadsheet application. We're going to talk about a lot of creative ways you can use it in the classroom too. But in the regular classroom, I would probably lean more towards Pages and Numbers.
Okay. That's good to know. Okay. So what are some ways that teachers can utilize Keynote?
So Keynote, I would say you can create templates like, do you remember Jessica Garrigan from ADE. Okay, she published a whole book on just keynote templates. And she had one for like the first week of school, getting to know me. And she had a place for them to insert a video of themselves telling about themselves and a place for them to insert a photo or a selfie. And then they had the ability to write about themselves. So anything that has a placeholder for a video or a photo would be great. There's also scratch off cards where you would layer like an image and then a gray square on top of that. And then kids would just use their eraser to scratch off that card. So you could have like a lot of different cards and have them scratch off to find a fun surprise underneath. Like if you want them to, like the class can scratch off a card as an incentive for great behavior for that week. And they scratch off a card and get an award as a class. So scratch off
flashcards kind of for studying as well. That's cool.
Mm-hmm. It's just fun and interactive. It adds a little bit of tactile experience to it. It's just fun.
Yeah.
That's important, right?
Oh yeah. That's super important. I totally agree. Speaking of important, how would you use, like if all my students had devices, how would my students use Keynote besides obviously the scratch off?
So I have built out planners in Keynote before because you can link slides, to another slide. So I'll tab out. I'll just create tabs with shapes with the shapes library. And I didn't illustrate this in my video, but you can link a slide to another slide. So I'll have like a slide for each month and then have a way for you to get to that slide from pretty much every slide. We used it to create an app prototype at Parkway to just tell about our school. And I did show you this in the video. We made like a blueprint to Parkway because we were a brand new school and we had a lot of families moving in after we opened up. And then of course, kindergarten registration, and our school just wasn't well established. We had a social media presence, but we wanted another way to share with families what all was going on at Parkway because there was a lot going on. So we made an interactive app prototype. And I'll show you that in the video too. You could do this, you could modify that and do it for your classroom. The one that we created was for the whole school, but you could modify that and make that specific for your classroom too. So, yeah, that's what we did. What about you? What experience do you have with Keynote?
I've used it my main thing was for presentation. So I'm not anything cool. It was just like, I made it for like, when I would present, do keynotes, keynotes, see what I did there? I didn't do that on purpose, but when I would do keynotes for schools or go present somewhere, I would use Keynote because super easy, copy paste, like drag stuff in, drag and drop. Like it's super intuitive and it works really fast. And plus one of the things I liked was, say I was going somewhere and the internet was spotty. You can download the videos and put them into the Keynote and not need the internet to play your videos. And it like plays super easily inside of the program. So I didn't use it for anything cool like you did. I just used it to like present the words. I use it for like a glorified PowerPoint, and that's what I did. But yeah, and then I could have it to where it's like based on how, the training was going, I could have like different things I would click and it would jump to something else in like a different slide in the presentation or jump out to the internet if that's what I wanted to do. So I used it mainly for that. So that's what I did. So not near as cool as yours, Lindsay. I think you do that.
I think you do that. I think you present a lot more PD than I do. So it just lended itself to presentations for you.
Well, you're doing a great job right now in this PD. I'll tell you that right now. So you're doing wonderful.
Thank you.
Speaking of wonderful, let's jump in and Lindsay's going to show us some ways to utilize Keynote. So if you want, remember, get your iPad out, get this little chicken nugget out, and start playing a Keynote with Lindsay as she goes in and shows you some cool stuff. So here we go.
In this video, we are going to talk about the app Keynote. So I'm going to go ahead and open Keynote. It's this blue app with the speaker podium on it. I'm going to open that up. And I have a few projects in here. And of course, again, just like we saw with Pages, you can view content that's saved on the hard drive of your device, or you can view content that you have saved in iCloud. I haven't saved everything I've created in iCloud, I have most of my work on my iPad, but if it's something I'm going to collaborate with someone on, I definitely put it over in my iCloud account or in my iCloud drive. Okay, so let's just create a blank presentation and go through the setup process. Okay, so again, just like in Pages, there are templates. So there's just the basic templates here that are pretty just black and white, minimalist. Then we have this collection here called Minimal. I love these bold ones. These I think are so fun. And then we have editorial and portfolio. You can hit see all to expand. But there's lots of good starting points just in the templates, okay? Today, I just want to choose a basic one and walk you through the interface. And this is going to look very similar to Pages. It's just going to have a few functionalities, of course, that are a little bit different. So first of all, let's talk about what is Keynote. Keynote is a presentation tool. So it's going to be Apple's version of Google Slides or PowerPoint, Microsoft PowerPoint. But I am going to show you some things in Keynote that I think makes it a game changer that those other tools just don't offer. But again, if you were to share this with someone through iCloud for them to edit, they would have to open it on an iPad or a Mac. And of course, if you wanted to share your presentation with someone, just sending it to them, not necessarily giving them edits to collaborate with you, they would need to open it on an iPad or a MacBook. It's just not going to transfer well when you convert it to a Google Slide presentation or a Microsoft PowerPoint. Okay, so I can move everything around with my fingers here by selecting it and moving it around. I can click on it and you'll see a menu come up and I have the option to delete. Okay, so I'm just going to delete these because I want to start from scratch. We're going to delete all of those. Okay, you're going to see your menus up here at the top again, just like we had. The only thing that's different on this one is you have a play button because it's a presentation tool. So when you go to present, you will just hit that play button. When you're done, you'll just tap on the screen and it'll go back. So to insert media, we add the plus sign. And of course, remember we have all of these menus are going to be streamlined across Numbers, Pages, and Keynote. The menus all look very similar. You have the shapes library here. Of course, you can create your own composite shapes if you want to and save them into the My Shapes place. Okay. And we also have the option to insert photo and video. You can take a picture with your camera, record an audio clip just like we did in Pages. You can insert an image gallery. You can insert a drawing. All of those things still apply here. So let's insert a shape. Let's go. I think that these 3D ones are really fun. And I want to show you a few things with these too. So shapes library, right? And we're going to insert this cube. And I'm going to go over here to my formatting options and I can take the opacity down. I can add a reflection. I can add a shadow and kind of play around with that. I can add a border to it. I don't want a border on this. I can change its color. Let's see. I can add text to it if I want to. Let's see. Something else that's really cool is that I can break this shape apart. So right now it's all one object, right? But I can break it apart. And now I can pull pieces off like that. And what else is really neat is I can now change the color of each individual piece, which might come in handy for you math teachers. And then once I get it the way that I want it, I can click on all of them and I can group them back together to make them one. Okay. All right, so adding media, editing objects and text is here. And then here is where you would share, and this looks just like it does in Pages. We didn't get to the sharing option in Pages, but I do want to show you this. Oh, it's because I don't have it saved in iCloud. So let's just go over to something that I do have already created in iCloud. Here's one. Let's just do open up a blank document. We'll just insert a shape really quick. So let's say I want to share this in iCloud. I'm going to hit the share button here. And now I can share it through iCloud because I've got it in my iCloud Drive. And I can share it with a link. I can push it out through schoolwork. I can push it to Google Classroom. I can send it in a text message or an email. But I can also customize my share options. Right now, it's only going to be accessible to people who I invite, and I'm giving them permission to make changes. But let's say you want to make this open to anyone who has the link. You just put that, and then let's say you just want them to be able to view it. There you go. You can also add a password if needed. Okay. And then, of course, this is a really big thing to talk about with Keynote. It's all of your exporting options. So from Keynote, you can export as a PDF or a PowerPoint, but you can also export as a movie or an animated GIF, which I'm going to talk to you about here in just a moment. But one big thing that I think sets Keynote apart is the ability to draw inside of it, like this. And when you draw inside of it, let's go, we'll just select all. And now I want to animate it. So I can select it and I can hit animate. And we've got an add build in, and I can do line draw. And you're going to be able to see that line draw like I did. But then you've also got, let's say it's not something that you drew with your pencil. You've got all these built-in options for animating. And this could work in a slide presentation, but what we like to do, my students and I, what we like to do is use it in some digital art making projects. And let me just show you what those look like. So I'm going to go to projects stored on my iPad. Here's an example. This was National Ice Cream Day, and we illustrated some ice cream, and I just turned it into an earth. It says save some for me, and when I go to play, and obviously I've got some issues back there. One layer isn't jumping, but you can see the animation, right? And I can export this as an animated GIF. And I want it to go, yes, just from slide 1. Let's export, see how she does. I'm going to save that to my camera roll. Let's open it up and let's see how it does. Okay, still needs a little bit of work. There's some crazy things going on right here, but I could now share that as a GIF through email or text after I get it perfected. We've got some struggles happening. Okay, let's look at another animation that we created. I've got one, here it is right here. This was a very simple animation. This is much like stop motion if you have any experience with that, but it's also, if you remember when we were kids, I don't know, I'm old, but when I was a kid, we would have little flip books that we would flip through, and there would be a different picture on each book, and you'd flip through it and watch the animation happen. So this is kind of like that type of animation. There's a photo on each of these slides, and I'm going to export it so that it flips through those slides very quickly. So it'll look like that. Okay, and all of this was just drawn in here with an Apple Pencil. So let's watch this turn into a GIF. I'm going to hit File, Export. I want to make it an animated GIF. And I want to adjust my slide range here from slide 1 to 16. And I want to do 30 frames per second. Let's see how that works out. Export. We're going to save this image, and then let's take a look at it. And you can see the animation play. Now I could also export it as a movie if needed, and you could put this to music. It would be wonderful. Okay, so let's go back to Keynote and go to presentation, and let's talk about some other ways that you could use this with your students. So another thing that I like to do is create templates for them. So this was something that we used at the beginning of the year. And I just put placeholders for them to create a video to tell about themselves and to snap a selfie with the camera. And then on the second slide, they just tell a little bit more about themselves. They can click the audio button and explain their favorite thing to do. And then they can take a photo that goes with that. Okay. All right. Something else that we have done that I think is really neat is we have built out a type of app prototype, and you can see all these slides over here, but what I want to do is show you this in present mode. And just by linking the slides together, we created something that parents could navigate through as they came in. Like if we had new parents come to our school, they could navigate through each different of all of these different topics to learn about our school a little bit. So like, let's say they wanted to learn about English as a second language. They would just click on this, and then they can access the bilingual staff.
Parents, feel free to come and ask questions.
We can go back. We can look at Hispanic Heritage Month.
We celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month at Parkway.
And all of these, I think most of these include a video or at least photos. And you can hit this back button to go back to, the topic that you're exploring, or you can hit home to go back to this page. We are a Capturing Kids' Hearts school, so we had some things in there for that. Of course, our school culture. Take a look at Louie the Lion, our mascot. And this is just great to use at kindergarten registration. It was great when new families came to our school and didn't know anything about our school as they're sitting in the office waiting for, the principal to come talk to them or to get registered with the secretary. We could just hand them an iPad and they could navigate through this and learn about our school while they are waiting. Okay, so that's one way you can use this. So we talked about animations. We talked about learning templates with your students. Let's see. So I think that's pretty much it for Keynote. Another thing that we've done in the past is create drawings to go with stories that we've read. And then we remove the background on these and export them as PNG images. And then we can use those in AR Maker to create our own augmented realities. So let me show you. I've already created all these drawings. We just drew these with an Apple Pencil. That was a screenshot. I have my shortcut for screenshots there. So all of these already have the backgrounds removed and they've just been drawn out with Apple Pencil. So I'm going to export them as images. And I'm going to choose, I want all of my images. I'm going to choose PNG because that removes the background and export it that way. I'm going to save those images to my camera roll. And now we will hop over to AR Maker and open this up in augmented reality. Okay guys, so I switched over to screen record on my iPad just so I can show you what it looks like through the screen, through the lens when we use this AR Maker and something we have hand drawn. So I'm using this app right here, AR Maker, and it's Augmented Reality Maker. I'm gonna open it up, hit start, and there are some things already constructed for you in here, but I like to use this create your own scene option with my students. I just feel like it gives them more creative freedom. So we're going to hit start, and you'll have to find a flat surface. I'm just going to use this space on my desk here. And you can see we've already been playing with these in here, but I'm going to show you how to import a new one. We're going to go to our photo library, and let's select these that we just imported. And then maybe some of these too. done. Okay, and then I'm going to go back over, and now they're in here as well, all the way down at the bottom. So let's say I want to place this very hungry caterpillar in here. I'm just going to tap him, and he's going to show up here in my workspace now. So I can make him bigger or smaller. I'm just pinching my fingers to make him bigger or smaller. And then I can place him. And now I can walk around him, take a look at him from different angles. Okay. And then I can also add in a strawberry and move it around. I can make it smaller or bigger, and then hit place. And then I can also add in a piece of cheese. Kids, especially younger ones, first grade, kindergarten, they love to do a story retelling with these augmented reality components of this little story. So there we go. That's how you can use Keynote to create PNG drawings to then create your own augmented realities in AR Maker. Okay guys, so that just about wraps up our video on Keynote and a look at all the exciting ways that you can use this in your classroom. I hope that you walk away today with some exciting ideas.
Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back. Hey, it's Tyler here. I'm just gonna give you a little break. So if you need to go do something, you need to go use the restroom, get a snack, get something to eat, whatever, you can go do that. I was gonna chat with you about some stuff, give you some time to do that and check in, maybe say hi. If you want in the chat, let's do a little check-in. In the chat, how you feeling? Toss in your emoji of how you feeling right now. Let's do a little emoji checkup, if you will. So while you're doing that, I do want to give, you know what? I spent a lot of time writing this book, and I genuinely think this book is going to help you in your classroom. It's gonna inspire you more than anything. It's a read with me, and one of the things that I feel like I've never been the smartest dude in the room. I've never been, the most talented, but I'll say this, I was always been pretty approachable, I think. I've been approachable, and I think what this is, I've tried to be as relatable as possible. I'm talking about my experiences, things I've run into in the classroom, what I've learned as a teacher and as an administrator and as a student, what I learned. And so this is the Baller Teacher Playbook. If you're interested in checking this out, I recommend, of course I recommend, it's my book. It's not the best book on education, but I think it's good enough to help you in some way. It's got a lot of practical experience in it. I've got quotes. That's a do you boo-boo. I could have picked a better chapter. Here's one thing, I want to show you one thing that I did at the end of each chapter, because I know teachers, okay? I put in practical application, I put in reflection, because we know reflection is important, even though we never have time to do it, but it's got spots for you to write that in, so this is something you can work on by yourself or with your team. But here's the part that I did, and this is legit just for teachers. I don't know if you can see that. I put in, at the end of each chapter, I have a section called TLDR. That's internet talk for too long, didn't read. So what that means is, let's say you've got a team meeting, okay? Because there's 18 chapters in here. That means you and your team, or you and your building, you can go through a chapter once a week. You meet on your planning period, spend 10 minutes talking about what you did, what you tried, what worked, what didn't work. Stuff to help improve your class and improve your students. Every week you can do that. Have you ever done this? In the chat, be honest, you ready? Have you ever had a team meeting where you're supposed to read something and you're walking over to the meeting and you're like, oh no, I forgot to read the thing I'm supposed to read that we're gonna discuss for like 15 minutes. So you just try to chill and hopefully don't get called on or get called out for not reading it. At the end of each chapter, I have a section called TLDR where in 2 to 5 bullet points, I summarize the chapter. So you could be walking to the meeting, you could read these 3 or 4 bullet points and be able to have a conversation about the entire chapter. There's stories in here, there's practical experience, there's ways that I messed up, ways that I failed, and then ways that I feel like I succeeded, and just talking through what I learned from both of those. And I would love for you to learn and grow with me. So if you want to check out that book, it's on Amazon. I'll have a link on the screen if you want to get it. Link is in my bio. I link links everywhere to it. So Baller Teacher Playbook. I think it can help you in your classroom. Okay, we're about to get started. Kick back into it. Hopefully you're ready to roll, ready to go. And let's jump back in. let's jump back in like Michael Phelps, okay? Well, does that work? Does that work? I mean, he jumps into the pool. That's what I was going for. I need to know more like high diver. High divers would have been better. I'll tell you this, we're gonna stick the landing like Carrie Strug. Y'all remember her? Carrie Strug, remember the Olympics? Georgia Olympics? Atlanta Olympics? Remember that? It's okay. It's a very narrow reference. All right, let's get started. Let's kick it off. Let's jump back in. Get your notes out. Get your screens pulled up. Get your coffee ready. Get your ice water. Your sweet tea. If you're from Arkansas like me, you know you like that sweet tea. And we're about to kick it off. Here we go. Let's get back in it. Let's get back in it. I'll see you guys. All right, welcome back. Thank you, Lindsay. That was lovely. Look at you. Incredible. So next, we're going to talk about numbers. Numbers is exactly what it's about. Numbers. We're talking about, it's the Microsoft version is Excel. The Google version is Sheets. And anything beyond that, you're just bragging. So chill, okay? So let's talk through numbers. What are your thoughts? Give us kind of a basic overview of numbers, Lindsay, because I know you use this way more extensively than I have. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on it.
So Numbers is a spreadsheet application, like you said. And in the video, when we open up Numbers, we're going to look at the templates that they have built in, which I think is really cool that they have templates built in for Numbers, because they have a calendar, they have a planner, they have like a lesson plan book, they have a place for you to take it. They have a template for attendance, they have a template for calculating someone's GPA. I mean, it's just full of templates that you can grab and use just as they are. But then once you get into Numbers, even if you just start with a blank document, it is the possibilities. Listen, Numbers is so underrated. It doesn't get enough love at all. I am totally sold on Numbers. So here's my favorite way to use Numbers, because I don't use it as a spreadsheet tool at all. Like, I don't think I've ever created a spreadsheet in Numbers, and I use it all the time. So once you get into Numbers, what I love about it is you can take a table and resize it. You can move it around, and you have all of this blank space. It's so flexible. You can insert a video right next to your table if you want to. That explains what that table is illustrating. You can insert a photo. You can insert an audio clip that talks or that, shares about what's included in your table or what's being shown. But my favorite way is to just delete all the cells altogether and start with a blank slate. And then I have tabs at the top, and I can put whatever I want on those blank pages. And I have used that to guide students through STEM challenges. I have used that to create word sorts for students. I've used it to guide students through creating interactive timelines. All kinds of things. It's endless. It's wonderful. I love it. And I show you all these things in the video. So just like with Pages and Keynote, you can draw inside Numbers. We talked about the media that you can insert, audio and visual. And then we talked about deleting all of the cells and just using the tabs for whatever you please. So
yep. I know that we've used it, like I've been a part of stuff with Apple where they've used Numbers as like a way to sign up for stuff. They'll collaborate or make it a shared thing, and people can jump in and they can reserve times. So it's a great way to collaborate. Is there a maximum limit of people that can be in collaborating on a document at one time? Do you know about that?
I don't think we've ever met that maximum, because I've been on those documents too, like for the pop-up classrooms at like ISTE and stuff like that. Yeah, and there were tons of us in there. I don't know. I've never met that maximum, if there is one.
Okay, that's good to know. I know that I'm pretty sure, like with Google, it's the max is 100 people can be editing at one time. And then I think it's like 250 can actually just be viewing it at one time. That's why they recommend publishing it to the web. So I didn't know. I'm just curious. I've never hit the maximum either. I didn't know if you had. So great question.
No, I mean, I have some documents that I've shared with people. They don't have editing rights, but I did give them access to it to where they could at least make a copy of it if they wanted to. Mm-hmm. And I think one of them has, I've got like more than 125 collaborators. Yeah. But they don't have editing rights. So I can't test out if we could all edit at the same time.
That's good. That's good. That's a good point. So if I'm a teacher, how am I using Numbers? How do you use Numbers? How should they use Numbers?
I use Numbers to create interactive learning experiences for my kids. Like I said, with the word sorts or with the interactive timeline or with the guided or the scaffolded STEM-like experiences. You can also use it as a teacher planner. You can create your whole teacher planner in Numbers. You can create a calendar or a daily schedule. You can take attendance in Numbers. Well, we do most of that in eSchool, but you can keep your whole grade book in Numbers if you want to. Which if we have eSchool, I mean, why would you do that? But you could.
You could. You have the option.
Like I do the least amount of that kind of work as possible. Like I just turn the grades in, take attendance, done. That stuff is not like super duper exciting for me. I wouldn't do it twice, is what I'm saying. Yeah, you can.
But you could. You could.
You could. If for some reason you really wanted to have that stuff in two places, you could store it in Numbers. I think you can do way more fun things with your time, but you could. So student data tracking is another great idea. If you do student portfolios, you could have a tab for each student. And then on that student's page, like especially if you're testing reading fluency or if you're testing, addition fluency, you can keep track of that over time throughout the school year. You can take a video of that child performing whatever task if they're reading out loud for you, insert that video and date it. So at conferences, you can show that parent that child's portfolio. And you might just do one Numbers document per student and have their reading portfolio, their math portfolio, so that whenever you could actually just share that whole Numbers document with that child's parent and they have evidence of everything. You could even make them a collaborator and they can see it all year long every time that you add to it. So
that way you could just send them the link once and then they can have it. And you don't have to resend it every week. They can check and see your records of their disciplines without editing if you want, to where it's you just listing and they could see it. That's a good idea.
And then there's no question. It's all transparent. They can see, everything that child has done, all of their, because that was something that was really hard to communicate to parents when I was teaching first grade was reading fluency. They didn't understand, why is my child's fluency not growing, or what do you mean reading fluency? So if you had video evidence of that, you could illustrate to them, here's what's happening and here's where we should be developmentally and we just aren't there yet. Or here's where we should be and your kid is, far surpassed that. And I'm just trying to keep them challenged until the end of the year, whatever you need to be able to communicate to parents. It would make it really nice and it would all be housed in one place. So.
Okay. That's awesome. I like it. Those are some good ideas. And I think it's great for us to now see it. So let's jump in. Lindsay's going to show us some ways that she's used Numbers and ways you can use Numbers. Remember, again, get your little iPad out. Go through the iPad while Lindsay goes to the iPad. So if not, you can just focus on what she's doing. So Lindsay, take it away.
In this tutorial, we will be looking at the Numbers app. It is this green app with what looks to be like a bar graph on it. We're going to open it up, and when we open it up, you'll see that you can, of course, this looks very similar to what we saw in Pages and Keynote. You can access files on your iPad or in your iCloud Drive. So I'm going to go to this page in my iCloud Drive, and I'm going to create a new spreadsheet. So let me back up. Numbers, first of all, is a spreadsheet application, but it's also so much more. And the first thing I wanted to show you is just the templates that are already built in. So you can do a blank spreadsheet, and this will generate graphs for you. They've got some personal finance templates built in for you. There are calendars and daily schedules. These are great for teachers. And they've got like an itinerary, birthday party templates in here. And then there's an attendance, a grade book, a way to calculate a GPA. Here's a school year calendar built in there. Okay, so let's just start with a blank document though and learn the fundamentals first. So I'm going to start with a blank document. And the thing that you'll notice is that you have the option to make a new sheet or a new form up at the top. You can rename the tabs. So I can click on this and rename it to, let's say, birthday party. Okay. Or we could say, instead of birthday party, we could say, let's name this birthday party. We're going to name the spreadsheet birthday party. Let's say that we're going to plan a birthday party. And we'll name this our shopping list. We could name this our invite list. We could say party favor ideas and activities. Okay. And then the neat thing about numbers is it's just so flexible. You can resize your table. You can grab this circle here and move it around. You can add and delete rows by sliding this little icon here. Same thing over here. Okay, and then you'll notice over here that this is very similar to what we saw in Keynote and Pages. You have the plus sign. This is where you're going to add all of your media. The Shapes library is here. And we also have the ability to insert photo, videos, audio recordings, image galleries, just like we did before. So you could potentially have a graph over here and insert an image gallery here to illustrate what you have represented in your table. Okay. And then of course you have your format menu. So whatever you click on is the format menu is going to change to be the options that you need to format that particular item. Okay. Let's see. Of course you can share this and collaborate in iCloud, just like we did before. And then you have some sharing and export options here. Okay. So I want to show you some ways I have used this. And most of the time when I use numbers in the classroom, I use it in a very non-spreadsheet way. So I want to show you what I mean by that. The first thing I want us to talk about is this. Oh, I didn't mean to click out of it. This was a STEM challenge what this numbers document did was it scaffolded students to go through the process of carrying out this challenge. So in this particular challenge, students were faced with a challenge to create a Native American shelter. And then they could click through the tabs to go through each part of this process. So here was the introduction. Here's some text that I wanted them to read. We have a large population of ESL students, and this was above their reading level. So this was available for them to read, but they also had natural resources. They also had it available with to hear the audio, hear it read to them. This is a video. We're going to push play. Natural. So you can insert all kinds of media, which is nice. I love that about numbers. And then here's where they face the actual challenge. So there's a image gallery here where they can swipe through to view the photos of Native American homes. And they worked in a small group to design a colonial era Northeastern Native American shelter using only natural resources. So here are their testable goals. And then they went over to the brainstorming section. You can actually draw in numbers just like we did with Keynote and Pages. Let me see. My pencil isn't wanting to join. We'll just do this really fast. Let's see now. My pencil's battery might be dead, or the tip sometimes it gets loose. But anyway, they could brainstorm right here inside of numbers, which is super convenient. The kids love that. Then they would go on to planning, and then here is where they actually created their Native American shelter. And this is a gallery placeholder for them. And what they were asked to do was insert photos of their creation once they got it done. And then they tested it, and this is a placeholder for them to insert a video of their testing of their project, of their STEM challenge. They built a Native American shelter and they tested it to see if the smoke would actually escape through the roof. And they just videoed themselves testing it and inserted it right here into this space. And then they went through these 3 questions to see how they could improve their design. So you can see how you could use these tabs at the top to kind of guide students through a STEM challenge. And it's very interactive. You're making it super accessible. And you are inserting video and audio for the students, but they also have an opportunity to insert photos and videos as well. And kids get really excited about that. Okay. So another way that I have used this in the past is for word sorts. And you might look at this and think, what in the world is going on here? But this is a table, and these words can just be moved around. And I'll show you how I did this. It's very simple, actually. So let's just start a new blank document. We're going to go with the blank one. And I've got my table selected here, and I'm going to go to my format options. And the first thing I want to do is turn off headers and footers. And this is just an example of how you can customize this for you. I want to turn off the title option. I'm going to go to grid options, and I want to turn off I want to keep the vertical lines and turn off the horizontal. And then you can also scale this to as many columns as you might need. I could select this one, go to format, and I want to, let's do this. I want to make all of these cells a certain color. Here we go. So we can do it like that. Okay. And then also like to highlight the cells up here, make those the same color. Now we've kind of got some structure to work with. And then I just made this my word bank. And same thing over there. And I like to center my text and then also make it a little bit bigger. And then you could name each of your categories and also type into that cell too with the word bank. Now here's how I made my movable pieces. I didn't put them in cells because then they wouldn't be movable. I used the shapes library. I want to go find a rectangle. Here we go. And you're just going to size it down to the size that you need it to be. Decide what color you want it to be. I think maybe something a little darker would look better. Double tap to write your word. And of course that text needs to be white because we can't see it. There we go. And then once I get the size and the color down, what I'll usually do is copy and then just paste. And then move it to where I want it to go. And then I'll just change the word on them and get them all lined up and change the word on them. And then when you send this out to your kids, they can sort and arrange those words as needed. Okay. So word sort is an awesome way to use numbers. Okay, so let's look at another way that you could use it. This is an interactive timeline. So I just created a timeline here and then put images and arrows. I'm going to show you how you can do this super easy with your kids. So of course, again, let's start a new blank document. And we're going to select this table because we're going to modify it a little bit. And the first thing I want to do is go to the table option up here, and I want to go to headers and footers. We're going to turn those off. We're going to turn the title off. And then we want to go to grid options and turn off the vertical and horizontal lines. So now we just have a rectangle, right? And I want to choose this whole column and fill it in with a color. Let's say we make it that color. And then in here, you can go in and enter in the year that you want to enter in. And you can do that several times on your timeline. a beginning, middle, and end, or you could even do, 5-year increments, whatever you're into. And then what I did was I used the shapes library and inserted arrows, and you can move those around freely. And you can also resize these and make them look just like how you want them. If you like it that way, if that's pointing the right way for you, you can use it that way. You could also go over to the arrange window and you can flip it horizontally. So you have the option to use arrow whichever way you want to, okay? And then another thing I like to do is add a text box. Remember, the text box is in the shapes library. That took me a little bit of time to get used to, with it being hidden in there, because I just didn't look for it there. So then you could enter in your text here. You could do that all along your timeline. And of course, you can make this timeline as long as you want it to be. You can keep adding rows here and just make this thing as long as you want it to be. Okay. All right, and another thing to think about that's kind of cool in numbers that you can do is you could also, like if you were going to talk about something that happened in 2021 and you had a video to support it, you can come over here, grab your video, select it, enter it in, and put it here. So this is just another example of a way that you or your kids could use numbers in the classroom. Okay, that's pretty much it for numbers. I hope that you got some good ideas from this session and are inspired to use numbers in your classroom.
Awesome. Welcome back. Okay, we're moving right along. We're jumping into the video side of it, and we're using the 2 video programs. Well, there's 3 really that Apple offers. We've got Clips, which is kind of like your short, easy, like super easy to make. It's almost, think of like you're making it in Instagram stories, essentially. Okay, so you're making clips. Then you've got iMovie, which is like a little bit beefier. It's like if you're wanting to make like a full video, a full movie, you want more editing capabilities, it's iMovie. And then one we're not covering today, but is the 3rd option, is Final Cut Pro. I spend most of my time in Final Cut Pro. If you see a video that I've done that's anywhere not on TikTok or social media, I probably edited it in Final Cut Pro. It's a different system, and I'm doing a PD on Final Cut Pro. It's 3 hours. It's dedicated to teaching you like the introduction and how to use Final Cut Pro, and we actually make a video together. So we're not going to talk about today. We're going to talk about clips, then we're going to talk about iMovie. I want to start with clips. Clips, Lindsay, give us some thoughts, overview. Tell us about clips.
So Clips is absolutely an entry-level video creation tool, but it is so fun. I love Clips so much. I mean, like I have iMovie and I know how to use iMovie, but if I just need to crank out something really quick, I go to Clips. So recently Clips had an update. I don't know if you remember back in the day when you could only create a Clips video that was in a square format.
Mm-hmm. I do remember that. That's when my daughter learned it, was in the square format.
Yes. And I love the square format for social media, but I also wanted to be able to make a video that was, standard screen size, and they fixed that. And I was so excited. Now you have 3 screen options: widescreen, I guess the standard screen size, and then square still there. So I love that flexibility. That was a huge update that I thought was a good move. That was awesome. So what I love about Clips, and I'm going to show you this in the video, are the posters and all of the stickers and the super cool filters. Those 3 things right there. I don't know, the posters, the animated posters, it's so easy to have some motion graphics really quick, and you can customize them. You can kind of change some things on them to where it's not just what was built into Clips. You can kind of make them look interesting and neat. And then the stickers are so fun. I feel like kids love Clips. They love to use it because it's easy, it's super accessible, and it's fun and colorful and bright. And the soundtracks that are included on it are so much better than what's in iMovie for MacBook. Now iMovie on the iPad has those same soundtracks like Clips does. Okay. I don't know if you knew that.
I didn't know
but
that.
iMovie on the MacBook does not. And I don't know why. I don't know if it's coming with a later update, but I don't know. But yeah, oh, and one thing that I should mention, Clips is only available on iPad. So there's no Clips on a MacBook or an iMac. So to use, and iPhone, you have Clips on the phone and on your iPad. So.
Yep. Yeah, my daughter, she's 9 now, but when she was 7, she had like a little iPad mini that we got her, and she learned Clips. She was like, I want to make vlogs or videos. She wanted to start a YouTube channel. So we let her make videos, and she went up there and she's like literally learning. I didn't help her at all. She went in, she learned, she put, she's clipping it together. Not saying it was it's probably not going to get nominated for an Oscar this year. But she's incorporating like text overlay. She's doing audio in the background. She did voiceover stuff. Like she's using it, and I didn't teach her any of it. So like you talk about kids using it, like a 7-year-old learned it on her own and made it. And then her friends came over and they're making like little gymnastics videos, like watch our flips, all that stuff. And so they made this entire library of motion pictures, if you will, through just Clips, of which they had they didn't even watch YouTube to learn. They literally just playing around with it, figuring it out as they go. So I think you're right. I think it's super intuitive for children to learn to do it, and adults.
And it's so fun. I don't know. I love the colorful filters and stickers and text overlays, and it just makes text overlays so easy. Like the text overlays that are in iMovie are easy to use. They're just not as nice to look at. I just feel like Clips is so fun. So one thing, I don't know if you ever do this, but sometimes I'll create like an animated intro for a video in Keynote and then bring it into Clips. So I'll just export it from Keynote as a movie and then import it into Clips as my own custom animated intro. So that's one way that you can kind of use those two apps together.
It's pretty classy. Yeah, I've never done that. It sounds really nice. It's really nice. Are there, trying to think, I think you've talked through a ton of the features they've got. What are some ways that you would practically use this in a classroom? It's like, what could a teacher do to use this in the classroom?
So I've used it to create how-to videos. I taught an art class and now I teach a tech art class. And so there's lots of, here's how you use this digital tool. Here's, what you can do with it, or here's this art process. How-to videos are super fun and easy with Clips. I have used it to create like a question of the day. That's fun and engaging, much more fun than just like reading the question in Google Classroom. I'm not hating on Google Classroom at all. I'm just saying creating a fun, engaging video, especially if you're going to be out that day, it gives your kids access to your face and your voice and your presence, even though you can't physically be in the classroom. So, I don't know.
And I can do it easily. It's easy to do. Like that's the thing that using iMovie, even iMovie, it takes a little bit of work. Here with Clips, it's like, this is a super simple way to create a video for your students. And I think that's a barrier a lot of times with us as educators is it's like, if we have to spend 45 minutes to an hour learning how to do the thing that's going to take us 20 minutes to do, we won't do it. We'll be like, okay, well, I'll just give them a worksheet, because it's like, I don't have an extra hour and a half to learn how to do this. So it's like Clips. I think the upside of learning to use it is like super quick. Like you could literally, like you said, make bell work. You can make videos. You could do that in minutes, like small, minute minutes, like a few minutes. You could learn it and start putting it out there. So anything else? Go ahead.
I said it's like making TikTok videos.
Hey-o. I like
yeah,
TikTok.
a lot of teachers have been talking about kind of using Clips to make TikTok-like videos, like TikTok-ish videos in their classrooms with their kids. So,
Good.
I haven't done that, but sounds cool.
You make TikToks though.
I did. I haven't in a while, but yeah, TikTok is super fun. It's addicting. I have to put my phone across the room and walk away from it for, a few minutes at a time to like really focus on something, or I'll just like mindlessly pick it up and go watch a TikTok. Am I the only person that struggles with that?
No, that's how I wind down. Like I've been good about not doing it because I've been trying to get ready for all the summer PD stuff and close out the year and get our graduates out. Like I've been really busy recently, so I haven't been able to, but then like yesterday, I just had a huge weekend. We graduated the students, and then like yesterday I got done. I was shooting some PD, got done at like 10:30. I spent like 2 hours watching TikTok. I jumped on. I was like, I'm just going to watch it for like 20 minutes. 2 hours later, I'm like, okay, I got to stop. It's like you're yanking it away from your face because the algorithm knows me. I'm watching all these teachers show these cool tips and do these funny things. And it's like,
yeah. I don't have any teachers on my For You page. I don't know what happened to the algorithm with me, but my For You page is hilarious. I think it's just a great way to decompress and watch some hilarious videos and laugh. And I don't know, like you said, kind of calm down time after your busy day. So let's talk about students and the ways that they have used clips in the classroom. So my students, we used clips actually to vlog from my classroom because it was the easiest video creation tool for them to use, and we had iPads in the room. So a lot of times they would just set up an iPad, not necessarily in clips, just with the camera, and take a time lapse of themselves creating whatever we were working on. And then they would put that into clips and add, an intro and maybe even like reflect and have, a video of themselves reflecting, or do a voiceover reflection as you're watching the time lapse of them making their artwork. And they loved it. And it was great to have that vlog, and I could push that out to our Instagram page so parents could see what's going on inside our classroom. So vlogging is a great way to tell your story from the classroom. And one great tool that happen.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. I mean, I meant to, but now I feel bad. One thing that we did a project with my students one time where they vlog, and I did one where they did a vlog of their day. So they captured their day. And then I had a vlog from the perspective of a historical figure. So it's like they had to like act as if they're like Benjamin Franklin, you know what I mean? Or like whoever, and they're Alexander Hamilton, whoever. They're pretending to vlog as that person. So throughout their day, they're showing some of the aspects like, oh, I've spent all day writing the Declaration of Independence. You know what I mean? Like they're talking about stuff as if they are that historical figure. So like you said, it's a cool way to incorporate that into the classroom. So yeah, for sure. And my kids have made how-to videos too. So we have a series called Clay Basics from a group of kindergartners who were learning about clay, and they wanted to make instructional videos on what they were learning about working with clay. So that was fun. I show one of those in my video that you're going to watch here in a little bit. And then we did a lot of reflection in clips, so they could give their artist reflection in a video format instead of having to write it out. It was art class, so they don't want to write. They write all day long. So we just did it that way. And I feel like it makes that if you give them the opportunity to express themselves and their learning through video, it just makes it more accessible, especially for like your English language learner students. Because they're going to be more willing to use that academic language that's associated with your subject if they can just speak it orally instead of having to write it out. So yep. I agree. I met a teacher at a district, I think it was maybe Mountain Home, and they do their like book reviews. They do them through video. So the students will read a book, and then they can write it, they can create a presentation, or they can do a podcast, or they can create a video recap of like the review of the book they just read. So I know you can incorporate it into a ton of lessons. And I think that's a great skill set to learn too. It's like we talk about wanting students to have skills going into the new world. If you can edit video, like that's a huge skill set going forward. Cause I don't know if you guys know, but YouTube's pretty popular. Like video is pretty important. Like it's a pretty big industry. So if you can learn to edit, you're always going to have an advantage over people that can't. And one of the examples I always use when I talk to teachers about incorporating video and students making videos is, say I want to be a welder. Okay. And I'm going to interview for a job to be a welder. And I've got my certificate to be a welder. There's another guy who has got his certificate to be a welder. And we're standing there and we interview and we can both weld. But I can also edit a video. So I can take everything that they're doing in, the welding department, film it, create a video, and have something they can put on social media to advertise their company. Or I can record it to show how-tos for people to learn how to do certain things with welding. It is a skill set that's going to be an addition to your resume. And I think the more students we can add that skill set to, the better. So that's just Tyler's opinion, small mini rant for the day. Sorry.
And you're also, by teaching them that skill, you're empowering them to be creative communicators, which is one of our ISTE standards. So
Oh, clean. Well played. Well played. Any other thoughts? Any other thoughts about clips before you show them how to actually use it?
No, I think that's pretty much it.
That's pretty much it. For the second to last time, I'm going to tell you to get your iPad or you can get your cell phone. And wow, I didn't know I had that kind of voice. It's incredible. I'm sorry. We're going to have to cut this. I'm going on American Idol. I'm going pro. I'm a professional singer. That's not true. Lindsay, take it away. Show us some stuff on clips. Work through this with her on your iPad or your phone to kind of get the hang of clips. And then at the end of this, I think you should be an expert. You should be able to make a video today. So go for it, Lindsay.
For this video, we're going to be looking at the app Clips. And Clips is a very fun application. It is an entry-level, what I would consider to be an entry-level video editing software. And something to keep in mind, this application is only available on iPad. This is not on iMac. So to use this, you have to have an iPad. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up. And there's my ceiling, and here's my hand. I'm just going to use it like this for demonstration right now, because if I tilt it up to where you can see my face, then you can't see my screen very well. So, actually I might have to tilt it up. Let's see. Because, let's see if that'll work. Will that work like that? Okay. So, let's just delete this. All right. So, first of all, let's just do a tour of the interface. Right here, you can choose if you want your screen size to be that of like a widescreen TV. Here we have, there's me at the bottom. Standard screen, and then we have square for like Instagram or Facebook, social media. Square is perfect for that. So to hit record, most of the time you just like tap a button, but this one you have to hold to record, and I hold and slide up and then it records like that. And then when I'm done, I tap it and you can see it down here. So let's talk about extra features in here. We have this star, takes us to a filter, and you can see it makes it kind of look like a comic book almost. Some of these filters are really fun. This is really cool. So that's something that your students might enjoy. You have more options down here. Here's where you can add subtitles down at the bottom. And that comes in very handy. It's a great accessibility feature. Here are some stickers that you can insert in. So like if I like this one, I can even change what it says, but I'm okay with yeah, and I can move it over here and then record, and you'll see that it is animated as well. Okay, let's see what else is in here. So we've looked at filters, subtitles, animated stickers, or these were actually text. Here's some text titles, and then here are our stickers. These are so fun. I love these stickers. This is probably what I love most about Clips. This and the posters. This for me is a game changer in video editing. So these fun little stickers like this, I'm just gonna layer some on here so you can watch what they look like. So we'll record, and you'll see they're animated and they move, so you could layer this on top of whatever you're recording. Okay. So something else that I love about Clips are these posters, and these are great for like an animated intro, and I'm going to show you how this works. We're going to pick one of these. I just want to scroll through here and show you all of them first. They have a lot to choose from. And they're all super fun. Okay, so we'll pick this one. And to record, you could, of course, customize your text if needed. And then you'll hold up, push and hold that button, and then you'll watch this go. And then when you are done, you can just hit that to stop it. And now you can go back and play. Push and hold that button, and then you'll watch this. Okay, and then something else to think about is all of the soundtracks that come with Clips. All of these are songs that you can use that are built into clips that you can put with your videos. So, turn it up for you. I think they're really good options. Some of them are really fun. I think I like that one. I think I like that one. I'm gonna go with that one. Done. Okay. And then I am going to rearrange my clips to where this is first, and I just like pick up and drag if I need to rearrange. And then on these, I'm gonna mute myself because I was talking while I was uploading it, and I don't want my voice recorded, but I do want to show you how this progresses through here. Hold up, push and hold that button, and then you'll... I forgot to turn the recorded audio on that one off. Okay, let's do it again. Okay. Something else that I want to mention about clips is that you notice how that song ended perfectly at the end of the last clip. Clips is formulated somehow, coding magic, I guess, that no matter how long your movie is and no matter which song you choose, it will automatically make the sound fit your movie. And I think that is so awesome. So like if I took one of these away, let's just delete these. And we'll just listen to what the music does if we just have this intro. Let's see what it does. And it just fades out perfectly right at the end of your clip. Okay, so there's a basic overview of clips. And when you get ready to share, you just hit the share icon. And you can text or airdrop or email, however you want to do, or save it. And I want to show you some ways that we have used this in my classroom. So let's go over here to my photo library. And so I taught elementary art. Now I'm at the high school teaching graphic design. But when I was using this a lot, I was at the elementary level teaching teaching art. And we would use this application as a way to vlog from the classroom, and it was so kid friendly and so fun. But of course high school students and even college students would have fun. I have fun making videos with clips. It's just such a fun platform. And if you don't have a whole lot of experience with video editing, clips just makes it so easy and so fun, just right out the gate. So here I'm going to play for you a video that some of my kindergarten students made when they were learning about clay. We made a series of videos called Clay Basics, and it was we showed these at our art show. We made them visible at our art show, and also students the following year, I would have a collection of videos on Clay Basics, and it's just it allowed for kids to teach kids, basically, to teach each other. So let's watch this. It's pretty fun.
First, we squish the clay to get the air bubbles out. Then we roll it into a potato. Next, we push our thumb down into it. We use our fingers to squeeze the clay up and out to make a bowl.
Okay, so you can see how that video showed me what those kids understood, and they they created two things in this project. They made a clay bowl, but then they also made a movie, which is they're super engaged. They're having a lot of fun, and I can check for understanding, and they can share their learning with me in a creative way. Okay, so let's go look. Here's another one. This is another art vlog. Okay, there's a little abstract painting with first grade in that video. And then sometimes I'll use clips to create instructional videos for my students as well. So you can see clips is super versatile, super easy for kids to use and adults as well, and tons of fun. I hope this video inspires you to jump into clips and see what you can create.
What up? Welcome back. Hey, Tyler here. How are you doing? How are you feeling? In the chat, let's do emoji check. And how are you feeling right now? Have you learned? Oh, no. To this point, what is something that you are going to try in your classroom or implement that you might not have wanted to, an hour or two ago? What is something you're wanting to implement in your classroom? Put that in the chat right now. I'd love to see it. I know the other people in the chat would love to see it. I know it'd be some great input. So throw that in the chat and then you can also copy paste and put in your notes, just so you don't forget. Make sure everything you're doing, you're keeping notes of. Keep links to it, all of it, because I want you guys to be able to access and actually make your classroom better. I've sat through enough PDs in my life, professional development in my life, that I don't remember one thing from. I pray that you walk through this. I am hoping that you get something out of this training that you can take and use, once a day, once a week, once a year, once a decade, something that you use and implement, whether it's a mindset or a skill set or just any type of framework to build your classroom and make things better. Okay? Speaking of making things better, making ourselves better, I do want to give you, some thoughts on something that I offer, a community that we have at Tarver Academy that I think could add you a ton of value. It could help you get better all year. Because right now we're getting better with PD, with professional development. Hopefully you're getting better right now. This summer you're gonna hopefully glean some information, some knowledge, some experience, and you're gonna get a little bit better. I want us to get better all year. I want us to get better all throughout the year. And here's the thing with teachers. We do not have time to go sit through a 6-hour professional development once a week. So what I did was I created a community called Tarver Academy. And it was based on teachers telling me they wanted resources. They wanted a continuation of these trainings, of templates, of resources. They wanted to be handed to them, because if you go out and search for it, you're gonna find random stuff. They wanted stuff that could be applied to their classroom, that they can sit there, bite-sized professional development for busy teachers. That's Tarver Academy on a roll. And I would love for you to join if you want to. If you don't have to, don't pay for it. It's not very expensive at all, but I don't want you to have to pay for it. I would rather you use your district's professional development money. So if you want, have them go in, order that for you. What happens if you sign up for the Tarver Academy on a roll? What it's gonna do is it's gonna add you value. Do you wanna get better as a teacher every week, but not have to go out and search for it? How about if we just hand it to you in an email? In the email, every week, you're gonna get either a template a resource. You're gonna get a short PD video, professional development, a training to show you how to do something you might not know how to do, or reinforce something you're maybe already trying. You're gonna get something that makes you better every week, plus some quick tips, links to some other things, and also you can ask me questions. I have a mailbag where you get to ask questions, and that's the list I'm gonna pick from first. I wanna help you guys. If I don't know how to do it, I'll do the research for you. I'll build, you're like, oh, I really wish I had a digital interactive notebook. Guess what I'll do? I'll go in and I'll build digital interactive notebooks, and I'll give you the template. You don't have to pay teachers. You don't have to go in and throw the money at anything. I wanna just hand it to you, and I wanna do trainings for you to help you. So if you wanna join that community, I think it's super helpful, and it's essentially where I become the tech facilitator for you. It's Netflix for teacher resources, and I would love for you to join and jump on that. So if you want, go there. It's tarveracademy.com/honor-roll, and you can sign up for that. And I think it's just going to be a huge. It's going to be a huge help to teachers throughout the year who have a lot going on and not a lot of time, extra time to go out and do it. It's like as teachers, they always give you more stuff to do, but they don't give you like, oh, here's like an extra 3 hours a day to go out and do whatever it is you're going to do. So if you want to sign up for that, you can. I hope you've used this time also to use the restroom. So if you're just getting back using the restroom, guess what? We've just been talking about Tarver Academy Honor Roll. No big deal. But I want to give you guys time to go do that and get a snack if you need it. Whatever you need to do, we're about to kick back into, we're about to jump back in it. We're going to fall back into the gap, fall into the gap. Man, do y'all remember that? That was a good campaign. That was memorable. Wasn't it? Memorable? Yeah, sure. Okay, so we're about to get started. We'll get started here very soon, and we're gonna jump back in. We're gonna keep learning. All right, let's do it. Let's go. We're still doing this. In the chat, here we go. In the chat, I want you to tell me the name. Okay, don't say that. I was gonna say, tell me the name of, you know what? You can do that. Tell me the name of a teacher who made an impact on you and what they did. Why did they have an impact on you? In the chat, what name of a teacher or an educator that had an impact on you and what they did to have an impact. It was either the way they treated you, the way they ran their class, or the way they inspired you, or just the way they had structure maybe. They were reliable, they were consistent. I would love to hear in the chat, name of a teacher that motivated you as a student or as another teacher and what they did. So let's throw that in the chat, and we're about to get started. We're gonna jump back into it. We're about to get started. We're gonna jump back into it like a pogo stick. See that? See what I did there? Nope. Okay, all right, let's get going. Welcome back. All right, we're doing it. We're in the last segment of the trainings, and we are talking iMovie. This iMovie is a video editing software. You can use it on iPad. I believe it's available on iPhone. I've never done it. It would seem tedious. MacBook is the one you're probably going to use the most. If you have an Apple device, most likely you can utilize iMovie to edit on there. Lindsay, give us an overview of iMovie, and then we're going to talk about it, and then we're going to show them how to use it.
Okay, so we talked about iMovie being sort of an intermediate. Would you consider it to be an intermediate video editing tool?
It depends on what you're using it for. If you're just like, hey, I just want to toss a video in, I want to clip the ends off, that's pretty easy. I mean, you just got to Command Shift B, which is blade, and just cut it, and then you can export it. But if you're going to want to add in text, if you want to add in audio underneath, you want to do a voiceover, yeah, that's when you're amping up. It's like clips, but like cranked up a bit. It's got a little bit of extra protein, some amino acids, if you will, on clips. But yes, I would agree. Most things you're going to do in iMovie is going to be a little more intermediate skill set.
Yeah, I think so too. And in the video, we're going to talk about layering a voiceover and a soundtrack and splitting a clip and adding some special effects and text overlays and some transitions. So you'll get into some of those intermediate skills. I'll just show you around a little bit. So what I think is so cool about iMovie, and what was a big seller from our principal back when I was at Salem and I was starting a news team, a lot of video editing software, if you're using Chromebooks only, you have to pay per student. What is WeVideo? I think that's what we were using at the time. Yeah. WeVideo, I think we paid like over $100 a year just to have our 15 kids have access to it.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Where if you purchase iPads for your kids, iMovie's free, and so is Clips. So
forever. You don't have to do yearly updates at all.
So I think that is a huge selling point for iPads is just all the free software that comes with it. I think it's fantastic. So let's talk about ways that teachers can use iMovie. I used iMovie a ton during the pandemic to pre-record my lessons because I was doing a lot of teaching from home from my kitchen table. I don't know if you remember that time period. It's all kind of a blur for me because there was so much going on. But I'll show you a little bit in this video of how I was teaching from my kitchen table. My poor kitchen table had paint all over it. My AirPod case had paint all over everything. Everything was arted on. Nothing was left behind. But yeah, teaching art virtually it was an experience. It was fun though. The kids got so into it. We used Flipgrid too. And they posted their video reflections and reactions and shared their artwork there. So Flipgrid's another great tool for sharing video. Once your kids create them in either Clips or iMovie, they can share on Flipgrid. Do you ever use Flipgrid, Tyler?
I've used it like once or twice because like a conference was like, hey, make a Flipgrid. I was like, okay. That was about it. When I do a video now, it's either I'm doing it directly, in the app, on my phone, or if I go in, I'm going to use Final Cut Pro. But I used iMovie I used it for 2 or 3 years before I did Final Cut Pro Express after that. And then you have to pay for Final Cut. But it's like one time. It's not like Adobe Premiere, which is the editing one for Adobe where you pay monthly. You pay one time. So I went to Final Cut Pro Express, which doesn't exist anymore, to Final Cut Pro 7, which doesn't exist anymore. Now I'm on Final Cut Pro X or Final Cut Pro 10, or they just call it Final Cut Pro now, FCP, if you will. And I use that. And it's very similar to iMovie. It's just like a beefed up version of iMovie. And I think you pay like $300 one time. And I don't work for Apple, so I'm not selling you anything. I'm just telling you. But yeah, I used iMovie many, many hours, a lot of editing. It's got a ton of capabilities. Like unless you're going to film like multi-camera, like all this crazy, like you don't need Final Cut Pro. You could probably just use iMovie, or here's the deal. Start out using Clips or iMovie. And then once you reach your max capacity and you're like, you know what, I want to do more with this, like then upgrade. Like this is a great tool that for most people, like I got a friend, he makes videos all the time. He's only used iMovie. It serves the purpose for almost everybody. And like you said, it's built in, it's free with the device that you purchase. So I think it's one of the best selling points that Apple has for creation, because you're able to do like legit video editing for free within the device. And it's super easy too. They make it super, intuitive for the user. So I think it's great. You've actually done some really cool stuff with your students. Tell them about the age range of your students and what you guys did using iMovie.
So they were K-5, and we did a lot of green screen stuff. And I was going to say one way to add, because we talked about iMovie not having like fantastic text overlays built in. I don't really like them. It's fine. I can make it work. But if you want to customize it, you can do that by creating it in Keynote. And you could either use like a green background and turn it into a green screen to where just your animated text shows and the green screen goes transparent. Or you could just remove the background and export it from Keynote as a movie and then layer it over your video layer. So you can make your own custom animated text overlays that way. It just takes a little bit of time. And I haven't really played around with Final Cut Pro. What do the text overlays look like in Final Cut Pro?
Honestly, they've got some classy ones, and then it's really easy to like buy or download some online and then like import them. So I've done that a couple times, but honestly, I use custom. And I just go in, I put the basic text, because once you use iMovie or Final Cut for a while, when somebody uses one of their little text generators, you know it watching the video, and it annoys me. And so it's like, I don't do it because I know like, oh, that's the thing I used like the first 9 videos I made on iMovie. I'm not going to do it anymore. You know what I mean? Like one of my most popular video on the internet is slope intercept form. And it has an iMovie text. It goes, well, y equals mx plus b. And then it disappears like this. And so then I've got like the glitter one. And it's funny because I used to do like when I'm teaching, I would use like some like the bubble one or like the glittery ones. I would use them as a joke, but then the video did well, and I'm like, now people just think I'm like a weird text kind of guy. But it was fun. It was fun to use it.
Yeah, and those iMovie text overlays are very recognizable. I mean, once you've used them, once you've seen them, everybody knows where they came from. And I don't know, I want things to be unique and individual, I guess. So that's been my workaround, is just create them in Keynote and then export them as a movie file and insert them in that way. So that's a really cool way to app smash. Do you call it that? App smashing, when you're using 2 or 3 apps together?
I don't, but that sounds great. Way cooler.
I think that's a hashtag on Twitter. I didn't make that up. I promise.
I'm going to give you full credit though. So,
okay, so we talked about pre-recording your lesson. We talked about using it with a news team. And we talked about using it when you might have a sub to deliver your instruction. Just pre-record everything. The sub doesn't really have to deliver any instruction, just take attendance, and your kids still have access to you in a way.
Yep.
It's you in video. Okay, so ways that students can use iMovie. They really get into the green screen, I have found out. They love to act out things, especially elementary students. So if you have read a book together, they could act out a book. So it's just taking a reader's theater concept to the next level, which is super fun. They could act out a story that they've written together. And they could also use this to vlog from the classroom. Like we were talking about with clips, it's just a little bit more flexible, and it can give them more editing options.
It's good. I love it. You ready to show them?
I'm ready.
All right. Lindsay's going to show us for the last tutorial. We're going to go through iMovie. So the last time I'm going to say it, get that little chicken nugget iPad, or if you want, I think, is it available on the phone? It is, right?
Yes.
Sure
it's kind of hard to edit. It's hard to edit on a phone, but it's there.
It's I have just like these weird large like knuckles that I'm like, I can't do it. I can't do it. It's especially after using like a trackpad to edit with, like it's difficult to go down to a phone. Like, but you know what? In a pinch, you got to do what you got to do. So get out a device, and Lindsay's going to show you how to edit with iMovie.
For this video, we are going to take a look at iMovie. So in the last video, we looked at Clips, which we said was an entry-level video editing software, right? And I meant to tell you that this is available on iPad, but it's also available on iPhone. So you can kind of play around with this on your iPhone too. It's just not available on iMac or MacBook, okay? Next, we're going to move over to iMovie. Now, iMovie is available on your phone. It's available on an iPad. It's available on iMac and MacBook. So iMovie is available across all platforms or all devices. Of course, you would need to export this. You can't get iMovie on a PC. This is an Apple only software. So iMovie is just a little bit of a step up in difficulty from Clips, but it's also going to offer you a lot more options that you didn't have available in Clips. So with more flexibility, becomes a little bit more complex. The platform becomes a little more complex. So I would say this is beginner, this is intermediate, and if you are at the professional level, of course, Final Cut Pro is Apple's professional level video editing software. So let's go ahead and open up iMovie and take a look. I'm going to go back out to my projects window. So you can see that I have used iMovie to teach. I have used iMovie. Some of my students have made movies. We ran the school news team out of iMovie for a little while. Of course, I do demos and create movies to share online through YouTube. If I have edited a movie and it's on YouTube, most likely I have used iMovie because it's what is readily available to me on my device. So let me go ahead and open up this project really quick, and we're going to hit edit. When you open up a project, you have the option to play it, share it, delete it, or edit it. And you can see how long it is and the date that it was created. So you'll see that this has an intro. This is actually a movie I had already made. I just pulled it in through photos. And this was made back during the pandemic. I was teaching virtually, and I was pre-recording my lessons, and I was teaching them how to draw a 3-layered cake here, or 3-tiered cake. And then we moved over to paper or canvas, and here I'm talking about highlights, tints, and shades to create a 3-dimensional form. And then we moved over to a canvas and painted using those same techniques. So let's just jump into the features here. So let's say I want to split this clip. Like right here, after I show them what a cylinder is, I want to split and add a transition before I start drawing, okay? So right here, I'm going to stop it right there, and you can see this timeline. I'm going to click on it, and you have all of these options here. So you can split it, which is what we do with the scissors here. So I can split, and now I have 2 movie clips, right? So let's say that I want to edit this part where I'm just drawing the cake and the candles on the iPad. Like, this takes a really long time. So one edit that I might want to make is I might want to speed it up a little bit. Okay, so here's all of that section of that portion of the video. And so one thing we might want to do is speed it up, like I said. So we're going to hit this speed menu down here, and you can slow it down, you can speed it up. I want to make mine a little bit faster. Let's see how it looks now. Oh, I had talked. I had talked in the video, but that's okay. I could just delete that. You know what? This is a good opportunity to show you that you can detach the audio, and I can actually delete that audio, and now I could add new audio to this part. And it still needs to be a little bit faster. Let's, well, that's fine. Okay, so let's say we want to add a filter. I can add a filter on here, which is fun. The kids always love to play with the filters. I can also add some text like this here, and I can resize it, I can move it. I can't make it go diagonal like we could in clips, but I could add a title here. This one is also fun. And then when you want to delete it, you can just delete it. So that's the biggest thing, is that we can split the clips here. In the clips application that we looked at before, we weren't able to split a clip and cut out something if we didn't like it. So that's a big step up. We can speed up and slow down our frames that we have. We can duplicate a video clip here. We can adjust the volume on a clip. If we want to turn it down, if we want to mute it, we can just mute it. We can add filters, and which we could do on clips, and we can add text. And these are not as fun and exciting as the ones in clips. So it's kind of a give and take. Okay, so let's talk about doing a voiceover. In iMovie, you can record a voiceover. Let's say I've got this whole video created. It doesn't have any audio to it. I can hit this little microphone, and it says ready to record, and I can say yes, record. It counts me down, and now I'm recording. So anything that I'm saying right now is going to be attached to this video when I play it back. So this is where I would introduce my instructional video. Like, hello boys and girls, today we will be drawing some sweet treats. Okay, let's get ready to draw. The first thing we're going to look at is a fun 3-dimensional shape that we have talked about before. This is a cylinder. Okay, so that's just an example of what I might have done. And then I can play it back, I can accept it, I can play it back. Anything that I'm saying right now. Okay, and let's turn this off. Here we go. Now let's go back. It counts me down, and now I'm recording. So anything that I'm saying right now is going to be attached to this video when I play it back. So this is where I would introduce my instructional video. Like, hello boys and girls, today we will be drawing some sweet treats. Okay, all right, so something else that is important to know is that this plus sign right here is where you can insert more media. Like, let's say you need to add a photo, or you need to add a video. You can add a video, you can add photos, you can add a background. Let's see. can add some files. I don't want to go there. I don't want to do that. And you have media, and then audio is down here, which is where you're going to find all of the music, which is now this just happened in the last couple of years. They pulled in that same collection of soundtracks from clips and made them available on iMovie. If you used iMovie in the past, like within the past 5 years or so, you'll remember that iMovie had a collection, and it does on Mac. It still has that same collection of sounds. But on iPad, you have access to the same soundtracks that are, oh, here they are, the themes. These are available in iMovie on an iMac or in a MacBook. But you don't have all of these fun songs on iMac. But I love these soundtracks. I think they are so fun. So that's a plus to using iMovie on the iPad, is that and the kids love these too. They love having all of these choices of fun soundtracks to use and put in with their audio. So let's pick one. Let's just pick one to go. Okay, I like that. We'll hit the plus sign to add it, and now it's layered down here underneath my voice recording. So I have my video, and then my voice recording, and then my music. So anything that I'm saying right now is going to be attached to this video when I play it back. So this is where I would introduce my instructional video. Like, hello boys and girls, today we will be drawing some sweet treats. Okay, let's get ready to draw. The first thing we're going to look at is a fun three-dimensional shape that we have talked about before. This is a cylinder. Okay, so there's an example, and you'll notice how iMovie just automatically makes your voice recording a little bit louder than the background music, which is so nice. Okay, so there's a basic rundown of iMovie, how to split clips, how to add a voice recording, how to add some music or a soundtrack in the background. And then when you're done, you would hit done. You can rename it. Let's rename this Sweet Treats. I want to capitalize that. And then we'll hit done. And then from here, we could save it to our camera roll, or we could text it, we could email it. I'm just going to save it in my projects for right now. And again, like I said, I have used this to demonstrate how to carry out a project, an art project. I have used it for virtual learning. I have used it with my little news team. And the kids actually in the news team got really creative and were able to use this tool by themselves. So it's totally kid-friendly, even at the elementary age, and high school and middle school could totally rock it out. Other ways that you could use this in the classroom could be to act out a book that you guys have read. So like a fun spin on Reader's Theater could be that they would create costumes, maybe use the green screen and act out a book that they have read. They could do this as a group collaborative project. They could also act out a story they've written, or they could use this to vlog from the classroom. So lots of fun ideas, super easy tool. I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. I hope that this video inspires you to jump into iMovie and give it a try.
All right. Wow. That was probably the best training I've ever seen in my life. That was incredible. Thank you, Miss Fell. You are truly an inspiration, and I appreciate you spending your time coming on here and showing some people how to utilize some professional development and of some professional, how to utilize professional development, how to professionally develop in these areas with Apple. And I know there's a bunch of other things you can do, but I think if you start here, this is an amazing foundation for building things from there. And then really it's just your ideas. Google, here's the deal, Google some ideas, search ideas on the internet, like, you know, fun activities with Keynote with my students. There's people that are doing this stuff all over the place. Lindsay, do you have any final thoughts for them as they pursue creating in their classroom, either for themselves or their students, using Apple for education?
Yeah, another resource, you said Google it, but you could also look in the iBook store, because a lot of Apple Distinguished Educators publish iBooks on how to integrate iPad into the classroom. So definitely check the iBook store. You can just search the store, like, iPad in the classroom. And I know that there are several books published on how to use Pages, Keynote, and Numbers alone, but then also video too. Another place to look for good ideas is Twitter. The whole ADE community is very active on Twitter. There's an Apple EDU chat every Tuesday night. I think that you can find the questions and the topic in the Apple Teacher Learning Center before every chat, or you used to be able to. That might have changed. The Apple Teacher Learning Center is also another good resource. I don't know if you know about this. Have you seen the Apple Teacher Portfolio program? So have you seen it?
I've heard of it. I have not gone and looked at it.
So there is Apple Teacher Certification, which just builds foundational skills. And then Apple Teacher Portfolio is all about integrating that tool into your lessons and creating a portfolio of what you've done in your classroom. And then you get certified with your Apple Teacher Portfolio certification. So that's also a good way to challenge yourself and kind of share with the community too. So lots of resources are available if you're looking for creative ideas for integrating this into your classroom.
Love it. Thank you so much, Lindsay. That was incredible. I appreciate you so much. So much. You're a wealth of knowledge. Where can they find you if they need to connect with you or want to connect with you or show you the stuff they're doing that you taught them? Where can they reach you?
You can find me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is my name here on the screen. I took a little bit of a break from Twitter during the pandemic. Things just got so crazy. I had to disconnect from social media for just a minute, but I'm easing back in because it is such an inspirational place. Twitter really is. It's inspirational. I'm also on Facebook, but I mostly just talk about my kids and my sweet grandparents on Facebook. So there's not a whole lot. I don't share a whole lot of resources on Facebook. But Tyler, thank you so much for letting me come and share, because I love to share these things. So
well, thank you so much. I appreciate you. It has been fun. And I think we've learned some stuff. So that's awesome. We did it. We did it. We learned something. Did you learn something today? In the chat, I want you to put the thing that you are taking away from today. Put one thing in the chat right now that you have learned or that you have realized or that's reinforced something you think. Put that one that I like to call this the golden nugget. Put the golden nugget from today in the chat. And that way, if somebody's missed it or they checked in, go ahead and you guys can copy paste what other people put. If there's some advice, you can screenshot it. Get this. I want you to throw in the best thing you learned today. It's like a best of highlight reel for your favorite thing that happened during this training. Toss that in the chat right now so we can share and grow together. Okay, we're about to do the evaluation. Before we do, I want to remind you, if you want access to this entire training at any time throughout the year, not just these live broadcasts, you can join the Tarver Academy Honor Roll. How'd I do this? Hey guys, Tarver Academy Honor Roll. It's like Netflix for teachers. Netflix for teachers, because you have resources, you have templates, you have PDs, trainings. It's literally like a library of trainings, and then access to ask questions, to request resources that I build and send out to teachers all around the world. So tarveracademy.com/honor roll if you want to join the greatest community on the planet. And I'm not biased at all. All of us, you're on the honor roll. You want to be on the honor roll? Sick. Let's all be on the honor roll. And I'm a dean, so keep me on the dean's list. Hey, that works. Okay. All right. Now it's time for your evaluation. I'd love to get your thoughts on what you thought for this, but also I'm going to send you a certificate saying that you sat through this training. You put in the time. You wanted to learn. You wanted to grow. You wanted to get better. This is going to be a certificate that I'm going to email to you. What I need you to do is I need you to go to the link on the screen or hover over the QR code with your phone. Get your phone out, hover over it. It's going to ask you a few questions. If you don't get this, it means that you put your email address in wrong. Make sure, please do not rush this. Type your email address in correctly. Please, I'm begging you, because if not, you're going to email me, I never got my certificate. It's because your email address is wrong. Type in your email address correctly, fill it out, fill out your name, make sure you capitalize, make it look good, because it's going to fill in to the certificate from this. So I need you to put this in correctly, please. Okay, go there. We're going to walk you through it. Go into this, click on the link. or you can't click on the link because it's on a video. Type in the link on your computer or type it in on your phone or whatever device you have. Scan the QR code, fill it out. I'm gonna send you a certificate with a timestamp on it saying what time you ended. You have proof from earlier if you sent in to the other link of what time you started. And then you also got your notes and all the stuff you've learned, your screenshots, all of that to show your administrator or whoever, your spouse. You show your friends, show people on the streets, all the learning that you did. You can frame that certificate. I think we're all getting framed. You get a frame? I'm getting framed. I'm gonna put it up on my shelf. I got too much stuff on my shelf already. So look at this, Lonzo Ball rookie card. If you got any, by the way, you got any basketball cards you want to sell? Hit me up. I've been slightly obsessed with basketball cards, and I apologize for bringing it up. Look at this. This is all Lonzo Ball. Lonzo Ball, I mean, he's the GOAT. Everybody says it. Who's in the chat? Who is your favorite basketball player of all time? I'd love to know. If it's Lonzo Ball, it's quite the coincidence because I had it sitting on my desk. If not, it's probably this guy. Probably this guy right here. See that guy? That's Michael Jordan. No big deal. It's whatever. Don't like to brag about it. I mean, it's not that expensive, that card. But if you got any cards you want to sell, holler at me. I don't know why I said that. I'm just stalling so you guys can fill out your evaluation. All right. Y'all feel good? I'm gonna leave this on the screen for you for a little while in case you had to step out for a second. I'm gonna leave this up. Thank you again so much for your attention and your time and everything that you put into learning and growing with us today. I'm Tyler. This is Tarver Academy. Let's learn to have fun. See you guys later.